For centuries, the Earth has kept its secrets buried beneath layers of time, secrets that defy explanation, challenge our understanding of history, and stir the imagination. In this exploration, we dive deep into the world of ancient archaeology, where every discovery opens a new door to a past we never knew existed. From long-forgotten civilizations to artifacts that shouldn't exist, the mysteries of our ancestors are waiting to be uncovered. Join us as we unravel these astonishing revelations, piece by piece, and explore the questions that have haunted mankind for millennia. The past is speaking. Are you ready to listen? Nestled within the ancient city of Teotihuacan, Mexico, lies one of the most enigmatic and awe-inspiring structures of pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, or Templo de la Serpiente Emplumada. With its towering pyramidal shape and intricate carvings, it stands as a testament to a civilization shrouded in mystery. The pyramid's architecture is dominated by a massive staircase, adorned with 200 meticulously sculpted heads of the feathered serpent deity, Quetzalcoatl. Each stone, each carving, speaks to a people whose knowledge of symbolism, astronomy, and mathematics was far ahead of its time. Yet, as with much of Teotihuacan, the deeper truths of the temple remain elusive. The temple's construction dates back to approximately 200 CE, during a time when Teotihuacan was at its zenith. It is believed to have served as a place of ritual and worship, with the serpent motif symbolizing duality, life and death, fertility and destruction. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, was revered as a god of creation, wind, and knowledge. His presence here is fitting, as the temple is thought to have been a center of both political and spiritual power. But despite its grandeur, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent is more than just a religious monument. Beneath its surface, it hides layers of mystery. For decades, archaeologists have uncovered numerous relics, some confirming long-standing theories about the site's purpose, others raising new unanswered questions. In the 1930s, excavation revealed a series of tunnels beneath the pyramid, leading to a cryptic chamber filled with thousands of objects, jewels, ritualistic offerings, and even the remains of sacrificed animals. Among these were carved stone faces, possibly of important rulers or deities, suggesting that the temple had not only a sacred role, but a political one as well. The discovery of these underground chambers only deepened the enigma, as the site's builders seemed to have intentionally sealed them off, their purpose buried for centuries. Theories abound as to what the purpose of these chambers truly was. Were they merely symbolic, a representation of the journey to the underworld, as many scholars suggest? Or were they a deeper, more esoteric space, perhaps linked to astral alignments or even cosmic rituals? It is well known that the people of Teotihuacan had an advanced understanding of astronomy, with the layout of the city itself reflecting the stars and the movement of celestial bodies. Could the Temple of the Feathered Serpent have been designed to track the heavens, to act as a portal through which the earthly and divine realms could meet? Speculation grows even more when we consider the unique nature of the feathered serpent itself. Quetzalcoatl, a god often depicted as part snake, part bird, represents an extraordinary fusion of opposites, the earthbound serpent and the ethereal bird. His dual nature suggests a deeper cosmic balance, one that may have been reflected in the temple's design. Was it built to honor this balance? Or did the temple itself serve as a tool for achieving it? Adding to the mystery is the city of Teotihuacan itself. It is said to have been one of the largest cities in the ancient world, with a population of perhaps 200,000 at its peak. Yet, its origin remains largely unknown. The people who built Teotihuacan left no written records, and no one really knows what happened to them. By the time the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, the city was already abandoned, its towering pyramids lying silent in the valley, a ghostly reminder of an ancient civilization that seemed to vanish without a trace. Some scholars suggest that Teotihuacan was not a typical city-state, but rather a place of pilgrimage and ceremonial importance, drawing people from across Mesoamerica to its sacred sites. Others propose that it was a powerful empire in its own right, its decline linked to internal strife or even external invasions. And yet, there are those who entertain more fringe ideas, that Teotihuacan's builders had knowledge far beyond the capabilities of their time, perhaps even contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. While these theories remain speculative, they point to the persistent sense of wonder and intrigue that surrounds this ancient site. As the centuries pass, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent continues to stand, its secrets guarded by time and stone. Every excavation, every new discovery, reveals a little more about the people who built it, but also opens new questions. Why was the temple sealed beneath the earth, only to be uncovered so long after its construction? What did the ancient architects truly intend with the mysterious underground chambers? And what role did the feathered serpent play in the lives of those who lived here? The answers remain hidden, perhaps forever, beneath the weight of centuries. But as we continue to study, we are reminded that some mysteries, no matter how long they linger, may never be fully understood. The Temple of the Feathered Serpent stands as a silent sentinel, a place where the boundaries between history and legend blur, leaving us to wonder what secrets might still lie beneath its ancient stones waiting to be uncovered. As we leave behind the shadowed mysteries of Teotihuacan, we travel to another ancient site that, much like the Feathered Serpent Temple, beckons us to question the capabilities of early civilizations. The Cuicuilco Circular Pyramid, located in the Valley of Mexico. Hidden within a rich landscape of volcanic terrain, Cuicuilco offers an intriguing glimpse into a long-lost culture, its circular form standing out as one of the earliest and most unique architectural feats of the ancient world. The Cuicuilco Pyramid, built sometime between 800 BCE and 200 BCE, is a striking monument, its wide, round base and truncated top offering an imposing presence amidst the surrounding landscape. Unlike the typical step pyramids of Mesoamerica, the Cuicuilco Pyramid is unusual for its distinctive circular shape, a feature that continues to spark debates among archaeologists and historians. Measuring approximately 20 meters in height, with a base that stretches nearly 50 meters in diameter, it suggests an ambition beyond simple utility. But what was the purpose of such a design? And why did this ancient city vanish from the historical record? Cuicuilco was once a thriving urban center, and some estimates suggest it could have housed as many as 20,000 inhabitants at its peak. The pyramid was likely the focal point of the city, built for religious and ceremonial purposes, but as with many ancient sites, the precise details of its construction remain elusive. The pyramid's round shape, for example, remains a topic of fascination. Why construct a monument in this way? Was it purely symbolic, reflecting cosmological principles, or could it have had a more practical reason tied to astronomy, geometry, or even religious beliefs? While many Mesoamerican pyramids follow a stepped or terraced design, Cuicuilco's circular structure remains an anomaly. Could it have been built to align with celestial bodies in a unique way that has since been lost to time? Or did it serve some other function we can only begin to imagine? One theory that emerges from the examination of Cuicuilco's architecture suggests that the circular form may have been designed to represent the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, a concept central to many Mesoamerican cultures. The shape itself could symbolize the cyclical nature of the cosmos, with the round base representing the earth and the apex pointing toward the heavens, a direct link between the terrestrial and the divine. Some have even suggested that it was a monument to the movement of the sun, with the sun's trajectory across the sky influencing the design. Could this interpretation be true, or is it merely an attempt to ascribe meaning where there is none? While the purpose of the pyramid remains a subject of scholarly debate, one fact is clear. Cuicuilco's downfall is a mystery in itself. Around 600 BCE, the city suffered a catastrophic event that likely led to its abandonment. Geologists speculate that it was the eruption of the nearby Zitli volcano that led to the city's demise, burying much of the settlement beneath layers of lava and ash. The pyramid, along with other structures, was covered, and Cuicuilco was eventually left in ruins. Yet the nature of the city's destruction only adds to the intrigue. If the eruption was indeed the cause, how could the people of Cuicuilco have known the threat was imminent? And why, despite such a devastating event, did the culture of Cuicuilco seem to vanish so suddenly, leaving behind no traces of its eventual recovery or rebuilding? It is not just the volcano that leaves unanswered questions, but the disappearance of the people themselves. While there is some evidence of continuity between Cuicuilco and the rise of nearby Teotihuacan, no clear answers have emerged as to whether the people of Cuicuilco simply migrated or if they were absorbed into surrounding cultures. The eruption could have been a natural disaster that forced the people to scatter, but some have speculated that a shift in power, or perhaps even a societal collapse, led to their disappearance. What happened to the culture that built such an impressive monument? In recent years, some fringe theories have suggested that Cuicuilco's disappearance might not have been solely due to volcanic activity. Could it have been an external threat, an invasion, or even a cataclysmic event beyond natural disaster that led to the abandonment of this city? Some believe that Cuicuilco's fate is tied to the broader narrative of lost civilizations, with ideas ranging from environmental collapse to extraterrestrial intervention, though these theories remain speculative and unsupported by mainstream archaeological evidence. The idea that Cuicuilco's builders possessed knowledge that is now lost to time persists in certain circles, and the mystery surrounding the pyramid only deepens when we consider the evidence of advanced construction techniques that seem to be far ahead of their time. As we look at Cuicuilco today, only the remnants of the once grand pyramid and the surrounding ruins remain. The lava fields that buried much of the city have preserved the site, but they also make excavation difficult. Few have ventured deep enough into the site to uncover the full extent of its original layout, and much of Cuicuilco remains buried under the ash and rock of the eruption. Still, the questions linger. What did the people of Cuicuilco truly believe? What knowledge and secrets did their circular pyramid hold? Could there be a connection between their sudden disappearance and the mysterious forces that seem to be at play throughout Mesoamerican history? The Cuicuilco circular pyramid remains an enigma. Its purpose, its builders, and its downfall all shrouded in uncertainty. As researchers continue to unearth new information, the mysteries surrounding this ancient monument only seem to grow. What truly lay behind the pyramid's design? And what did the people of Cuicuilco leave behind, hidden in the ashes of their once great city? These are questions that may never be fully answered, but they remain an invitation to wonder. What if we've only scratched the surface? As we journey deeper into the realm of ancient mysteries, we find ourselves in the heart of the Egyptian desert, where the wind whispers over the remains of a once sacred place, the Temple of Ammon at Siwa. Tucked away in the Siwa oasis, this remote temple has stood the test of time, its ruins silently guarding the secrets of a civilization long faded into history. It is a place of awe and reverence, not just for its remarkable historical significance, but for the layers of intrigue and unanswered questions that continue to surround it. The Temple of Ammon, also known as the Oracle of Siwa, was dedicated to the Egyptian god Ammon, a deity whose influence extended far beyond Egypt itself. This temple, built around the 6th century BCE, was one of the most revered oracle sites in the ancient world. People from all corners of the Mediterranean world made pilgrimages to Siwa to seek the wisdom of Ammon, believing that the god's priest would deliver prophetic visions that could alter the course of their lives. Among the many visitors was none other than Alexander the Great, who, in 331 BCE, traveled to Siwa to consult the oracle. His visit to the temple would forever cement the site's place in history, but it also marked the beginning of an enduring mystery. What exactly transpired within these walls, and what truths did the oracle of Ammon reveal that have since been lost to time? The temple's location, isolated in the vast expanse of the desert, is itself a point of intrigue. Why would such a significant religious and prophetic center be established so far from any major civilization? The Siwa oasis, with its verdant greenery surrounded by barren sands, was an oasis of both life and isolation, a place where spiritual reflection could be pursued away from the distractions of the outside world. Some have suggested that the choice of this remote location was intentional, lending the oracle a sense of mystical authority, perhaps amplified by its perceived connection to the divine and its distance from other power centers of the ancient world. Physically, the Temple of Ammon is not as grand as some of Egypt's more famous monuments, yet it possesses an undeniable aura of reverence. Constructed primarily of mud brick and limestone, the temple has been weathered by the centuries, yet enough of it remains to offer a glimpse into its former glory. The central sanctuary of the temple housed the oracle's inner sanctum, where the priest would receive divine messages. Some accounts suggest that these prophecies were delivered in a state of trance or induced by rituals involving incense, which may have triggered altered states of consciousness. Was this a form of divine communication, or could it have been an early form of psychological manipulation, where the priest used his position of power to influence the future of kings and commoners alike? The exact nature of the oracle's workings remains unclear, and whether the prophecies were truly divine or a product of human cunning is a question that has puzzled historians for centuries. What is most fascinating about the Temple of Ammon is the influence it wielded on the ancient world. Alexander's visit is perhaps the most famous, and his encounter with the oracle has been recorded in numerous ancient texts. It is said that during his consultation, the oracle confirmed his divine status, declaring him the son of Ammon and thus a god himself. This divine affirmation helped to solidify Alexander's position as a ruler of unparalleled power and legitimacy, not only in Greece, but across the vast territories he sought to conquer. Was this affirmation a deliberate manipulation by the priesthood, or did Alexander truly believe in the god's power? The temple's connection to Alexander also raises other questions. Did the oracle's role extend beyond spiritual guidance, possibly influencing political decisions and shaping the destiny of entire empires? The temple was not only a site of personal guidance, but also a political tool. Some ancient accounts suggest that visiting kings and leaders received prophecies that affected the balance of power in the ancient world. These prophecies could be vague, allowing for multiple interpretations, or they could be pointed and specific, steering the course of war or diplomacy. For instance, it is said that the oracle of Ammon predicted that Alexander would be victorious in his conquests. But did the priesthood possess extraordinary knowledge of political and military affairs, or were they simply reading the signs of the time? Perhaps the oracle was used as a tool to manipulate events, subtly influencing decisions that would lead to the rise of mighty rulers. How much of the oracle's wisdom was based on intuition, knowledge of current affairs, or perhaps even a deeper understanding of human psychology? Over the centuries, the temple fell into disrepair. Its once sacred walls, which once echoed with the voices of those seeking answers, were reduced to ruins by both natural decay and human hands. In the 7th century CE, After the rise of Islam, the site was largely abandoned, and the sand began to claim what remained. The temple's importance faded from historical memory, yet its legacy continued to linger in the collective imagination. In the modern era, the ruins of the Temple of Ammon were rediscovered, but even today it is far from fully explored. Archaeological efforts have revealed much, but many believe that the true depth of the temple's history has yet to be uncovered. More questions continue to surface. Could there be more than just physical remains buried beneath the sand? Some believe that hidden beneath the temple lies further evidence of the oracle's true workings, a library of ancient knowledge or perhaps forgotten texts that might illuminate the deeper mysteries of the temple and its role in the ancient world. Could there be clues left behind that explain the exact nature of the prophetic rituals? Or perhaps a hidden chamber that could reveal the secrets of the divine communication the priesthood claimed to have with Ammon? And, of course, there's the matter of the prophecies themselves. What did the Oracle of Ammon truly reveal about the future? Were some of the predictions actually fulfilled? And if so, how did the Oracle possess such precise insight into the future of kings and empires? Or were the prophecies a self-fulfilling prophecy shaped by those who sought them? Could we, in our modern age, one day uncover the true depth of the Oracle's wisdom? Or is this part of the ancient mystery forever beyond our grasp? As we stand amidst the ruins of the Temple of Ammon, it is impossible not to wonder what might still be hidden beneath the sands of Siwa. What remains locked away, waiting to be discovered? The answers, if they exist, may be buried deeper than we can imagine, but they are undoubtedly waiting for the day when we are ready to listen. As we leave the sacred echoes of Siwa behind, our journey takes us to the sun-baked hills of southern Spain, where another ancient enigma awaits, one whose purpose and significance have been largely lost to time. Here, amid the dry landscape of the Almeria region, lies the remarkable archaeological site of Los Millares, a series of fortifications that are as puzzling as they are impressive. Rising from the earth, these prehistoric structures stand as a silent testament to a forgotten civilization, their walls and foundations holding secrets that have yet to be fully understood. Los Millares is one of the most important Bronze Age settlements in Europe, and its fortifications are some of the earliest and most sophisticated of their kind. Situated on a strategic hilltop, the settlement was once a thriving community, home to an advanced society that lived around 2500 BCE. The site is marked by its impressive circular defensive walls, which stretch for over 1,000 meters, enclosing a complex of buildings, tombs, and ceremonial spaces. The walls themselves are an engineering marvel, constructed with thick, tightly packed stones that have withstood millennia of weathering and erosion. These fortifications were not merely symbolic. They were built to protect, to defend, and to shield a people whose survival depended on their ability to control the land around them. But as with many ancient sites, the purpose and true nature of Los Millares remains shrouded in mystery. What drove the people of this society to build such imposing defenses? Was it a reflection of a violent, unstable world, or was there something more to their need for protection, something beyond the simple desire for physical security? Were these walls meant to keep others out, or were they a way to assert control over the land, a visible symbol of power and dominance? The layout of Los Millares offers clues to these questions. The settlement is divided into distinct areas, with the central space likely serving as a hub for community activities, including trade, ritual, and governance. The presence of large communal structures suggests a society with a complex social hierarchy, one that may have been organized around a centralized authority. Evidence of metallurgy, particularly copper and gold work, points to a culture with considerable technological expertise, capable of creating intricate jewelry and tools. Could the fortifications have been a response to external threats, perhaps from rival groups or neighboring cultures? Or did they serve a more internal function, reinforcing social divisions and maintaining order within the community? One of the most intriguing aspects of Los Millares is its burial practices. Beneath the fortified walls, archaeologists have uncovered a series of elaborate tombs, many of which contain the remains of high-status individuals. These tombs are often marked by large, stone structures that suggest a ritualistic aspect to death, possibly related to the reverence and honor bestowed upon the deceased. What do these burial sites tell us about the spiritual beliefs of the people of Los Millares? Was death viewed as a transition to another realm, a journey that required elaborate preparations and offerings? Or were these tombs symbols of power, meant to ensure the continued influence of the elite even after death? The remains of weapons and tools found alongside the deceased suggest that the dead were prepared for some form of life after death, perhaps a belief system that saw the afterlife as a continuation of the struggles and challenges faced in life. While much of the settlement has been uncovered through archaeological excavation, there are still areas of Los Millares that remain unexplored, buried beneath centuries of soil. It's possible that future digs could reveal new insights into the site's purpose and the lives of its inhabitants. But there are other mysteries that persist, questions that challenge our understanding of the people who built this fortified enclave. For instance, the walls themselves, while clearly functional, are also marked by an unusual feature. They are not uniformly constructed. In some places, the stonework is rudimentary and less refined, while in others, the stones are intricately placed with an attention to detail that speaks to a more advanced construction technique. What accounts for this inconsistency? Did the people of Los Millares employ different methods of construction depending on the area of the settlement, or was there an evolution in their building techniques over time? And if so, what drove this change? Perhaps the most intriguing question surrounding Los Millares, however, is its sudden abandonment around 1600 BCE. After centuries of growth and development, the settlement was mysteriously abandoned, its once vibrant community vanishing almost overnight. Some believe that the decline was caused by environmental factors, such as a shift in climate or a scarcity of resources, but there is little definitive evidence to support this theory. Others speculate that the people of Los Millares were displaced by invading forces, perhaps from the east, where other Bronze Age civilizations were flourishing. But could the abandonment have been more than just a matter of survival? Could the people of Los Millares have left the settlement voluntarily, choosing to migrate elsewhere or to abandon the fortified way of life they had created? And if they did leave, why did they choose to leave behind such a sophisticated and strategically located settlement? There is also the matter of the fortifications themselves. Why were they built in the first place, and why were they abandoned so suddenly? Some archaeologists believe that the fortifications were a response to social unrest or the need for increased defense, but without written records, it is difficult to know for sure. Were the walls meant to protect against external threats, or were they an expression of a deep-seated desire for control within the society itself? The question remains unanswered, leaving us to wonder whether the answer lies in the lives of the people who lived here, or if it is lost forever beneath the stones. What is clear, however, is that Los Millares was a place of great significance, an early example of a fortified settlement that speaks to the complexities of Bronze Age society. Its walls, its tombs, and its artifacts offer glimpses into the lives of a people whose legacy is still felt today. Yet the full story of Los Millares remains hidden, its mysteries inviting further investigation and exploration. Could there be more to discover beneath the dust and stone? And what secrets might still lie waiting, locked in the shadows of this ancient fortress? As we leave behind the fortified hills of Los Millares, our journey now takes us to the heart of the Mediterranean, to the island of Malta, where one of the oldest and most mysterious sacred sites on Earth stands in silent testimony to an ancient civilization that has long since faded from history. Here, atop the windswept hills of Gozo, the Ggantija Temples rise, a monumental testament to human ingenuity and a mystery that has captivated historians, archaeologists, and curious minds for centuries. The Ggantija Temples, dating back to around 3600 BCE, predate even the Great Pyramids of Egypt and the standing stones of Stonehenge. Made from massive stone blocks, some weighing as much as 50 tons. These temples are a striking example of prehistoric architecture. The temples are set within a complex of megalithic structures, arranged in a series of interconnected rooms and courtyards. At first glance, the site seems like a labyrinth of colossal stones, each wall, each doorway, suggesting a sense of purpose beyond simple construction. The scale and sophistication of the site immediately raise questions. How could a society with no advanced technology or tools create such monumental structures? And what motivated them to build something so grand, so enduring, yet so enigmatic? The temples themselves are designed in a distinctive basilica shape, with wide, sweeping walls and circular or semicircular apses. The two main temples at Ggantija are arranged side by side, their walls forming a sort of enclosing perimeter, enclosing a space that would have been used for religious rituals. The exact purpose of the temples is still debated, but it is widely believed that they were used for fertility rites, possibly dedicated to a mother goddess or a life-giving deity. Evidence suggests that the temples were centers of ceremonial activity, with offerings, feasts, and rituals likely taking place within their walls. The location of the site, atop a hill with commanding views of the surrounding island, further suggests its importance as a place of spiritual and community significance. But while the purpose of the temples seems clear in broad strokes, the finer details, the why and how, remain shrouded in mystery. For centuries, the people of Malta would have made pilgrimages to the Ggantija Temples, drawn by the power of the rituals performed there. But how did the people of this ancient society, without the use of metals or complex tools, manage to quarry, transport, and assemble these colossal stones? The construction methods remain one of the great unsolved mysteries of Ggantija. Some scholars suggest that the builders used a combination of levers, ropes, and sledges to move the massive stones, but the sheer weight and size of some of the blocks make this explanation seem almost too simplistic. How could they have accomplished such feats of engineering without the advanced knowledge of pulleys or other mechanical systems? And yet, the alignment of the stones, the precision with which they fit together, speaks to a level of expertise that seems beyond the capabilities of the people who lived at the time. Some fringe theories suggest that the builders of Ggantija may have possessed knowledge or technology lost to history, perhaps a forgotten form of engineering or even assistance from external sources. There are those who believe that ancient cultures may have had access to a lost scientific knowledge passed down from even older civilizations. Could this knowledge have been passed down through generations? Or were the builders of Ggantija simply exceptional in their ability to understand the forces of nature and construction? It's a tantalizing possibility, one that raises more questions than it answers. Could the Ggantija Temples, with their perfectly aligned stonework and seemingly inexplicable construction, be evidence of a more advanced civilization, lost to the sands of time? Even more intriguing is the question of the purpose behind these temples. While fertility and mother goddess worship are the most widely accepted explanations, there are other, more speculative theories. Some believe that the temples were designed as astronomical observatories, with their alignments and placement suggesting a sophisticated understanding of the stars and seasons. The orientation of the temples could have been aligned with the movements of the sun, moon, or stars, creating a symbolic link between the heavens and the earth. Could the Ggantija Temples have served as a place where early astronomers studied the skies, tracking the celestial bodies that governed their lives? The idea that the temples might have had an astronomical or cosmic function is supported by some of the alignments and the geometric design of the structures, though there is no definitive evidence to prove this. Other theories suggest that the site had a more esoteric or spiritual function, perhaps linked to ancient beliefs in the afterlife or the passage between realms. The temples could have been places where the dead were honored, or where rites of passage were performed for the living. Were these structures built as much for the living as they were for the dead? Could they have served as a bridge between two worlds, one where life was celebrated, and the other where death was merely a transition? The discovery of Ggantija has left us with more questions than answers. The sheer scale and complexity of the site suggest a society with remarkable skills in construction, but the lack of written records or clear explanations leaves us in the dark about how these people viewed their world. Why, for example, did they stop building such grand structures after Ggantija? The temple complex was used for many centuries, but by the time the Phoenicians arrived on Malta around 1000 BCE, the site had already fallen out of use. Why did the people of Malta abandon such a powerful center of worship and activity? Was it due to changes in religious beliefs, or did external pressures, like the arrival of new peoples, force them to shift their focus elsewhere? Or perhaps the answer lies in the natural forces of the island, such as environmental changes, that altered the landscape and the way of life of the people who lived there. As we stand among the ruins of Ggantija, it is impossible not to feel a sense of wonder and awe. The stone walls rise from the earth like silent witnesses to a long-lost time, their purpose still beyond our full comprehension. What were the people who built these temples truly trying to achieve? Was it simply a place of worship, or was it something more? An expression of an ancient, advanced understanding of the world, lost to the ages. Perhaps, as with so many other ancient sites, the answers will forever elude us, leaving Ggantija as a testament to a people whose ingenuity and spiritual vision were as vast as the stones they left behind. After the ancient stones of the Ggantija Temples have faded into the horizon, we find ourselves shifting to the east, to the rugged and arid landscapes of Jordan. Here, beneath the surface of the desert sands, lies a hidden mystery, one that has eluded even the most seasoned archaeologists and historians for centuries. Welcome to ar-Rasas, an archaeological site that holds within its depths a series of underground structures that continue to defy explanation. Ar-Rasas is an ancient city located roughly 30 miles southeast of Ammon, and its history dates back to at least the 3rd century CE, though some argue that it may have been inhabited even earlier. The site is known for its remarkable array of Roman, Byzantine, and early Islamic architecture, with grand churches and intricate mosaics that tell the story of its rich cultural and religious history. However, it is the underground structures at ar-Rasas that have captured the imagination of those who study it. These subterranean passages, rooms, and chambers are unlike anything seen in the surrounding regions, leading to a great deal of speculation about their true purpose and construction. What makes the underground structures of ar-Rasas so fascinating is their complexity, and the fact that they were carved from the very rock of the desert itself. These subterranean spaces consist of a series of vaulted chambers and passageways, many of which appear to have been deliberately hidden beneath the surface. Some of the chambers are large enough to have been used for communal purposes, while others are smaller and more private. The walls of these chambers are adorned with simple carvings, and some contain faint traces of frescoes, though much of the artwork remains unclear or has been lost to time. What is immediately striking about these structures is their seemingly deliberate design. There is an artistry to the way they were constructed, and the precision with which they were carved suggests a level of skill that seems almost advanced for the time. Why, then, were these chambers built underground? One possibility is that they were intended to provide shelter from the harsh desert environment. The region surrounding ar-Rasas is known for its scorching summers and bitterly cold winters, and it is likely that the inhabitants of the area sought refuge in these subterranean spaces to escape the extremes of the climate. But while this explanation seems plausible, it doesn't fully account for the scale or intricacy of the structures. If the primary purpose of these underground chambers was simply for shelter, why go to such lengths to carve out large, elaborate spaces beneath the surface? Some researchers believe that these underground structures may have had a more spiritual or ceremonial function. It is known that many ancient cultures, particularly those in the Near East, associated underground spaces with the divine, the sacred, or the afterlife. The practice of burying the dead in subterranean tombs or constructing temples beneath the earth was not uncommon in the ancient world. Could the underground chambers at ar-Rasas have been used for religious rituals, perhaps as places of worship or meditation? Or were they part of a larger complex of burial sites designed to honor the dead and ensure a connection with the gods? There are a few scattered references in ancient texts to underground temples and cults in the region, though none provide definitive answers as to the purpose of these structures at ar-Rasas. Another theory suggests that these underground spaces may have had a more practical function, perhaps as storage or even as defensive structures. The site is strategically located along ancient trade routes, and it is conceivable that the inhabitants of ar-Rasas built these hidden chambers as a way to protect their valuables or retreat to safety in times of conflict. Evidence of defensive walls and fortified structures can be found scattered throughout the site, further supporting this idea. Could these underground rooms have been part of a larger defensive network, designed to withstand invasion or attack? The mystery of why these chambers were built beneath the ground remains one of the site's most persistent and compelling questions. Yet, despite these plausible theories, there are aspects of the underground structures that defy easy explanation. For one, the sheer effort required to carve these chambers from solid rock suggests that the builders had access to tools and techniques far beyond the capabilities of the time. The rock itself is not soft or easy to work with. It's a dense, resistant material, and carving such large, precise chambers would have been an enormous undertaking. While the people of ar-Rasas may have had access to simple tools like hammers and chisels, the scale and complexity of the work suggests a deeper understanding of engineering and construction, skills that may have been passed down from an earlier civilization or even influenced by external sources. What's more, the layout of the underground chambers is not immediately logical. The passageways and rooms do not follow a simple utilitarian pattern. Instead, there is an almost intentional complexity to the design, suggesting that the builders may have had a specific symbolic reason for arranging the chambers in the way they did. Could this intricate layout hold a hidden meaning, one that reflects the cultural or religious beliefs of the people who built them? Or were they designed in this way to create a sense of mystery, to confound any intruder or outsider who might seek to understand them? The complexity of these structures invites us to question whether there is more to their construction than meets the eye. Another peculiar feature of the underground structures is the presence of what appear to be air shafts and ventilation systems. These shafts are carved into the rock and extend from the subterranean chambers to the surface, allowing for the circulation of air. While this may seem like a practical addition, it raises further questions about the intended use of the underground rooms. Why would such an intricate system of ventilation be necessary if the chambers were merely storage or shelters? Could it be that these chambers were not meant to be temporary refuges, but rather long-term spaces, perhaps even places of ceremonial activity that required airflow and light? As archaeologists continue to study ar-Rasas, it becomes increasingly clear that these underground structures remain one of the greatest unresolved mysteries of the ancient world. Despite years of excavation and analysis, we are still left with more questions than answers. Who built these underground chambers, and why? Were they purely functional, or did they serve a deeper, spiritual, or symbolic purpose? And what role did they play in the wider history of ar-Rasas and the ancient civilizations that once thrived in this region? For now, the underground structures of ar-Rasas remain silent, their secrets hidden beneath the earth. As we stand at the threshold of these ancient chambers, we are reminded of the mysteries that still lie waiting to be uncovered. What if we are only scratching the surface, and what hidden truths remain buried beneath the stone? The answers, it seems, are still waiting to be found. As we move westward from the arid desert landscapes of ar-Rasas, we come to a place that might seem out of place in its rugged surroundings. Montezuma Castle, nestled in the cliffs of Arizona. Rising high above the verdant valley floor, this ancient cliff dwelling remains one of the most captivating mysteries of North American archaeology. Though its name evokes the grandeur of the Aztec Emperor Montezuma, it's not tied to him or his empire. Instead, the castle belongs to a people long vanished from the historical record, the Sinagua, an ancient Native American culture that flourished between the 12th and 15th centuries. The castle itself is a stunning architectural feat. Located 90 feet above the valley floor, it's built into the limestone cliffs, utilizing natural caves that were hollowed out over centuries by the erosive forces of wind and water. The structure consists of 5 stories, built from limestone and mortar, with around 20 rooms spread across multiple levels. It is accessed by a series of wooden ladders and handholds that would have made it difficult for outsiders to reach. From its elevated perch, Montezuma Castle commanded a strategic view of the surrounding area, offering both a defensive advantage and a commanding view of the fertile lands below. The sight of these stone walls, set against the arid backdrop of the Arizona desert, evokes a sense of awe. How did these people, who had no access to the large-scale building techniques of later cultures, manage to create such a well-fortified and impressive structure? The Sinagua, a people believed to be an offshoot of the Hohokam culture, were skilled farmers, using advanced irrigation techniques to cultivate crops in the otherwise barren landscape. But they were also master builders, using a combination of ingenuity, local materials, and an intimate understanding of the terrain to construct these cliff dwellings. For years, historians and archaeologists have struggled to answer several key questions about Montezuma Castle. While much is known about the Sinagua people's way of life, particularly their agricultural practices and their eventual migration from the area, details about why they chose to build such an elaborate cliff dwelling remain elusive. Was it a sanctuary, a fortress, or perhaps both? The strategic location of Montezuma Castle suggests a defensive purpose. From its heights, the residents could easily spot any potential threats approaching the valley below. But if it was a military outpost, why did the Sinagua put so much effort into making it comfortable? The presence of well-designed living spaces, storage rooms, and even small alcoves for food storage indicate that this was a place to live, not just to defend. Some archaeologists believe that the cliffs may have provided protection from marauding groups, particularly as tensions grew between the Sinagua and other neighboring tribes in the later years of their settlement. However, there are no direct accounts of violent conflict associated with Montezuma Castle, raising the question, were these structures purely defensive, or did they serve a deeper, more complex social or spiritual function? Another puzzling aspect of Montezuma Castle is its purpose within the larger context of Sinagua society. While there are other cliff dwellings scattered across the region, none are quite like this. The sheer scale and craftsmanship of Montezuma Castle suggest that it may have been an important ceremonial or political center. The Sinagua people are known to have had extensive trade networks with neighboring cultures, and Montezuma Castle could have been a hub for those exchanges. Was it the home of an important family or leader? Or perhaps it was a gathering place for larger groups during ceremonial events, where rituals and important decisions were made. Intriguingly, some theories point to the possibility that Montezuma Castle was not merely a practical structure, but a site of profound spiritual significance. Ancient peoples often chose locations for their dwellings based on their alignment with natural features such as water sources, the movement of the sun, or the presence of sacred symbols in the landscape. Could the location of Montezuma Castle, high in the cliffs with a commanding view of the valley, have had a spiritual or cosmological significance? Was it seen as a place where the human world and the divine could meet? Some even suggest that the cliffs may have been seen as a symbolic connection between the heavens and the earth, a concept that is not uncommon in indigenous spiritual practices. As much as Montezuma Castle offers a glimpse into the lives of the Sinagua people, it also raises more questions than answers. Why did this culture, remarkably advanced in their construction, irrigation, and trade, eventually abandon the castle and leave the region around 1425 CE? Were there environmental factors at play, such as drought or soil depletion, that made the area unsustainable for farming? Or was it due to social factors, such as conflicts with other tribes, internal strife, or a gradual shift in cultural practices? While evidence of migration suggests that the Sinagua moved to other areas of the southwest, the reasons for their departure from such a well-established and fortified settlement remain unclear. Another mystery surrounding Montezuma Castle is the unusual craftsmanship of the structures. Though the Sinagua people were skilled builders, some elements of the architecture suggest that there may have been outside influences. The precise mortar used in the construction, along with the sophisticated layout of the rooms and passageways, points to a level of architectural planning that seems advanced for the time. Could the Sinagua have learned these techniques from other cultures in the region, or did they possess knowledge that has been lost to history? Some fringe theories suggest that the construction methods used in the castle could indicate external influences, perhaps from a more ancient, forgotten civilization. Could the Sinagua have been in contact with cultures much older than their own, perhaps passing down knowledge through generations? The excavation of Montezuma Castle has provided only a partial understanding of its role in the Sinagua culture. While archaeologists have uncovered various artifacts, including pottery, tools, and remnants of food storage, much of the inner workings of the site remain a mystery. Was it a symbol of status and power, a political and religious center, or perhaps a site for secretive rites that are now lost to time? Montezuma Castle stands as a testament to the ingenuity of a people whose story is still incomplete. The answers to the many questions surrounding its purpose and function remain elusive, leaving us with only fragments of understanding. Was it a fortress, a spiritual center, or something more? What caused the Sinagua to abandon such a remarkable structure? And how much of the true history of Montezuma Castle remains hidden, waiting to be uncovered by future generations of explorers? As we look up at the stone walls of Montezuma Castle, we are reminded of the mysteries that continue to surround ancient civilizations, their legacies both profound and puzzling. The castle stands, silent and steadfast, offering its secrets only to those who are willing to look deeper. What else does this incredible structure hold, just beyond the reach of our understanding? As we leave the impressive cliff dwellings of Montezuma Castle behind, we shift our focus to the vast, sun-scorched plains of modern-day Pakistan, where another ancient mystery lies buried beneath the sands. Welcome to Mohenjo-daro, one of the largest and most enigmatic cities of the Indus Valley civilization, a civilization that flourished around 4,500 years ago but vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the ghostly outlines of its urban landscape and the remains of its sophisticated society. Mohenjo-daro, meaning Mound of the Dead, is located along the banks of the Indus River, in what is now the Sindh province. Its ruins stretch across the horizon, an expanse of crumbling brick structures and deserted streets. The city, which was once home to tens of thousands of people, was carefully planned and built with a precision that still baffles archaeologists today. Wide streets intersect at right angles, dividing the city into neatly organized residential, commercial, and ceremonial areas. Drainage systems, a series of carefully constructed wells, and advanced brickwork suggest a level of engineering and urban planning that rivals any ancient city. One of the most striking features of Mohenjo-daro is its intricate system of water management. The city's advanced drainage system, with underground pipes and sewers that ran beneath the streets, suggests that the people who built this city had a remarkable understanding of sanitation and infrastructure. Public baths, the most famous being the Great Bath, located at the heart of the city, are evidence of a culture that placed a high value on cleanliness and hygiene. The Great Bath, measuring 12 meters by 7 meters and lined with tight-fitting bricks, may have been used for ritual bathing, social gatherings, or perhaps both. The level of organization required to maintain such a complex city is staggering, especially when considering that Mohenjo-daro's inhabitants had no written records or complex tools by today's standards. Yet, despite the obvious advances of this civilization, there are still countless questions that remain unanswered. How did these people, whose society appears to have been highly advanced in urban planning, agriculture, and technology, suddenly disappear without any definitive explanation? The decline of Mohenjo-daro is just as mysterious as its rise. The city was abandoned around 1900 BCE, and while there are several theories, no one knows for sure what caused its downfall. Some scholars suggest environmental changes, such as flooding or drought, which could have disrupted the agricultural systems that the city depended on. Others propose that the city's decline was due to the shifting of the Indus River, which may have caused the city to lose its crucial water supply. But some theories stretch beyond the mundane. Some have pointed to the possibility of conflict, citing evidence of signs of destruction at certain sites within the city, though this is far from conclusive. There are also those who speculate that the civilization fell victim to an extraterrestrial event, citing evidence of radiation or unusual artifacts as proof of a catastrophic disaster. While such theories are controversial and lack solid evidence, they highlight the fact that Mohenjo-daro's disappearance is still not fully understood. As we walk through the remnants of the city, there are clues that suggest a deeper mystery still lingers beneath the surface. One of the most perplexing aspects of Mohenjo-daro is its apparent lack of monumental structures. Unlike other ancient cities, such as those in Mesopotamia or Egypt, there are no grand temples or massive palaces. Instead, the city's buildings are relatively modest, and much of the art and artifacts uncovered are small-scale, leaving us to wonder, what was the true nature of the rulers of Mohenjo-daro? Could this be a society where power was not concentrated in grand architectural symbols, but was instead woven into the fabric of everyday life? Another unsettling aspect of the city's ruins is the skeletal remains that have been uncovered. Many of the bodies found in Mohenjo-daro appear to have been hastily buried, with no signs of elaborate funerary rituals, which contrasts sharply with the sophisticated nature of the city's construction. Some bodies were found in positions suggesting sudden death, with no obvious signs of injury, raising questions about the cause of their demise. Could a plague have swept through the city, leaving its inhabitants to die in a single catastrophic event? Or was it the result of a more gradual process of decline where people left the city over time, leaving behind only those who could not escape? The most intriguing aspect of Mohenjo-daro, however, is the fact that the Indus Valley civilization, of which it was a part, remains almost completely undeciphered. Unlike the Egyptians, Sumerians, or Mayans, the people of Mohenjo-daro left behind no known written language, and their script remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in archaeology. The Indus script, consisting of over 400 distinct symbols, has yet to be conclusively translated. Without the ability to read their records, we are left with only artifacts, architecture, and burial practices to piece together the history of this once great civilization. Some researchers have speculated that the Indus script could hold the key to understanding not only the history of Mohenjo-daro, but also the fate of its people. Could there be clues hidden in the script, waiting to be uncovered by a breakthrough in linguistic analysis? Or is it possible that the script represents a lost language so fundamentally different from anything we know that it will never be deciphered? This question hangs over the site like an unresolved riddle, leaving us to wonder what secrets the people of Mohenjo-daro may have hidden in their writing, perhaps even insights into their collapse that we will never fully grasp. Adding to the intrigue is the discovery of a series of small, intricate seals found throughout the site. These seals, made of steatite, often depict animals and human figures, some with strange markings that seem to hint at a symbolic or ritualistic function. What role did these seals play in the lives of Mohenjo-daro's people? Were they used in trade, as has been suggested, or did they serve as symbols of power and influence within the city? The fact that similar seals have been found across the region, as far as Mesopotamia, points to a broad-reaching trade network and a civilization deeply connected to the wider world. Yet, the seals themselves raise even more questions. Why did these people, whose language we cannot read, create such symbols, and what were they trying to communicate? Today, Mohenjo-daro stands as a silent monument to a civilization that achieved remarkable feats of engineering and urban design, only to vanish without leaving a clear trace of why or how. The mysteries of the city's rise and fall, its language, and its ultimate disappearance continue to captivate archaeologists and historians alike. What happened to the people who built this extraordinary city, and what secrets are still hidden beneath the ruins? The answers, if they exist, remain just out of reach, waiting for the right discoveries or the right insights to shed light on one of the most perplexing mysteries of the ancient world. As we leave behind the ancient streets of Mohenjo-daro, our journey now takes us to the mist-cloaked mountains of Peru, where another enigmatic site beckons us, the fortress of Kuelap. Nestled high in the cloud forests of the Andes, Kuelap rises like a forgotten citadel from another age, a place so remote and seemingly cut off from the world that it feels as though time has left it untouched. Yet, like the remnants of so many ancient sites, Kuelap's story is steeped in mystery, its full purpose and the identity of those who built it still shrouded in the fog of history. Kuelap, often referred to as the Machu Picchu of the North, is located at an altitude of 3,000 meters, perched on a natural mountain plateau that offers commanding views of the surrounding valleys. It is a massive stone fortress built by the Chachapoya culture, a pre-Incan civilization that flourished in the region between the 6th and 16th centuries. The site covers an area of approximately 6 hectares, with walls that soar to over 20 feet in places and a series of impressive structures arranged around a central courtyard. The architecture of Kuelap is both formidable and mysterious. Its walls are made from enormous limestone blocks, and its buildings are arranged in a circular pattern, creating a labyrinthine layout that begs for further exploration. What is immediately striking about Kuelap is the sheer scale and complexity of its construction. The stone walls, which have endured centuries of weathering, seem to defy the capabilities of the people who built them. The Chachapoya, while skilled builders and warriors, did not possess the advanced technology of other ancient civilizations, such as the Incas. And yet, Kuelap's walls are precisely fitted, with stones that appear to have been cut to an almost perfect shape, a feat of craftsmanship that raises questions about how such a large structure could have been constructed using the tools available at the time. How did the Chachapoya people, without metal tools or advanced machinery, move and place these massive stones with such precision? Could there have been methods or knowledge lost to history that enabled them to achieve this incredible feat of engineering? As we step deeper into the fortress, the mysteries of Kuelap unfold further. Unlike other ancient fortresses, such as those of the Incas, Cuelap's walls are not lined with defensive features like those seen at Machu Picchu or Ollantaytambo. Instead, the site's construction appears to focus more on enclosing vast spaces and creating complex, enclosed areas. Some scholars suggest that the fortress served as a ceremonial center, a place of spiritual significance, perhaps used for rituals or gatherings. The site's strategic position at the top of a mountain suggests it could also have been a defensive outpost. But why such an elaborate, sprawling fortress was built in such a remote location remains uncertain. The Chachapoya were known as the Warriors of the Clouds for their ability to defend their land from invaders, and Cuelap's location certainly offers a tactical advantage. Its mountain perch would have made it nearly impossible for enemies to approach without being seen from miles away. Yet, unlike many other ancient fortresses built purely for military purposes, Cuelap does not appear to have been designed solely with warfare in mind. The site's complex construction, with its many circular structures and intricate passageways, suggests that the builders had other priorities, perhaps religious or social in nature. But if Cuelap was a place of worship or a seat of power, who were its leaders, and what kind of society did they rule? The mystery deepens as we look at the incredible artistry and craftsmanship displayed in the construction of the fortress. Cuelap is filled with intricately carved stone lintels, some depicting scenes of animals, faces, and abstract symbols. These carvings hint at a rich cultural and religious life among the Chachapoya, but their meanings remain largely inscrutable. What do these carvings represent? Were they related to the gods worshipped by the Chachapoya, or did they symbolize something else entirely, perhaps aspects of daily life, tribal alliances, or rites of passage? These intricate designs are still the subject of intense debate, as there is little evidence to explain their true significance. Even more mysterious are the 500 or so structures within Cuelap, many of which are circular in shape, unlike the typical rectangular buildings found at other ancient sites. The use of circular architecture in the construction of Cuelap is striking, and some researchers suggest that it may have been related to the Chachapoya's religious beliefs or cosmological worldview. In many cultures, the circle has symbolic significance, representing concepts of eternity, the heavens, and the cycles of nature. Could the circular design of Cuelap be a physical manifestation of these spiritual beliefs? Or was it a practical design, meant to help the buildings withstand the harsh winds and rains of the mountain climate? The most compelling aspect of Cuelap, however, is the fact that it was abandoned long before the Inca Empire arrived in the region. By the time the Incas reached the area in the late 15th century, Cuelap was already in a state of disrepair, and the Chachapoya people were dispersed throughout the region. Why was Cuelap abandoned, and why did the Chachapoya suddenly leave such a grand and strategically positioned fortress? Some suggest that the arrival of the Incas and the subsequent conquest of the region led to the fall of the Chachapoya, but there are no direct records to support this theory. Others speculate that the people of Cuelap may have left due to environmental changes, such as shifts in the climate or a depletion of resources. Could a prolonged drought or deforestation have rendered the area unsustainable for the Chachapoya, forcing them to abandon their homeland and retreat to other regions? While the reasons for the decline and abandonment of Cuelap remain speculative, the site's legacy continues to captivate modern archaeologists and visitors alike. Despite decades of research and excavation, much about the site remains hidden beneath the layers of earth and stone. Are there still undiscovered chambers or artifacts buried deep within the fortress, waiting to reveal more about the people who once lived there? What else could be uncovered through further investigation into the construction methods, religious practices, and daily lives of the Chachapoya people? One of the most enduring questions surrounding Kuelap is whether the Chachapoya were simply an isolated culture, or whether they were part of a larger network of civilizations that spanned the Andean region. Some scholars suggest that the Chachapoya may have had connections with other cultures, possibly influencing or being influenced by the Incas, or even earlier societies like the Nazca. Were the Chachapoya in contact with these other cultures, sharing knowledge, trade, or even artistic ideas? The possible connections between Kuelap and other ancient Andean civilizations remain a tantalizing puzzle, one that may hold the key to understanding the true significance of this mysterious fortress. As we stand atop the ancient walls of Kuelap, gazing out over the mist-shrouded valleys below, it is impossible not to be drawn into the enigma of this incredible sight. What secrets do these towering walls and intricate carvings still hold? What can they tell us about the culture that once thrived here, a culture that has long since vanished from the historical record? Kuelap stands as a monument to a people whose legacy is both rich and elusive, leaving us to wonder what might yet be uncovered from the depths of the clouds. The answers, perhaps, are still hidden among the stones, waiting for the next generation of explorers to bring them into the light. As we leave behind the lofty heights of Kuelap, we now journey deep into the heart of West Africa, where an ancient and awe-inspiring landscape reveals yet another mysterious chapter of human history. Here, in the arid lands of Mali, lies the Bandiagara Escarpment, an imposing cliffside that stretches across the horizon, where nature's raw beauty is intertwined with human ingenuity. On this dramatic escarpment, a series of stone structures and dwellings are etched into the rock itself, belonging to a civilization that has long since vanished but left behind a fascinating legacy. The Bandiagara Escarpment, a sandstone ridge that rises over 500 meters above the surrounding plains, has been home to the Dogon people for centuries. The Dogon, who are renowned for their rich culture, spirituality, and deep knowledge of astronomy, have lived in this rugged terrain for millennia, their communities built into the cliffs in a manner that seems both deliberate and mysterious. But it's not just the Dogon's history that captivates the imagination. It's the extraordinary, almost otherworldly structures they've left behind. The escarpment itself is dotted with a network of cliffside dwellings, granaries, and ceremonial sites, many of which were carved directly into the sandstone cliffs. These dwellings are a striking example of ancient architecture, adapted to the natural environment. Built high in the cliffs, they offer stunning views of the surrounding valleys, their narrow paths and steep stairways providing access to these remote spaces. The homes, constructed from a combination of stone, wood, and mud, blend seamlessly into the landscape, almost as if they were grown from the rock itself. The purpose of these cliffside structures remains one of the great mysteries of the region. Why were they built so high, and what were they used for? The Dogon people are known for their rich spiritual beliefs and their sophisticated knowledge of the stars, especially the Sirius star system, which plays a central role in their cosmology. Their detailed oral history includes accounts of ancient visitors from the stars, and many scholars have marveled at the Dogon's detailed knowledge of the Sirius system, which was only confirmed by modern astronomy in the 20th century. But beyond their spiritual practices, the Dogon's cliffside dwellings raise a number of questions. Were these structures built as defensive fortresses meant to protect the community from invaders? Or were they more symbolic, serving as sacred spaces for the Dogon's complex religious ceremonies? The layout of the structures on the Bandiagara Escarpment seems to suggest that the cliffs were more than just a refuge from danger. The dwellings are arranged in clusters, often surrounding central courtyards, and some are connected by narrow, winding passageways carved directly into the rock. These homes were not merely for living. They were intricately designed to accommodate the social and spiritual practices of the Dogon people. The use of the cliffside as a foundation for these structures raises further questions. Could this location have held a deeper symbolic meaning for the Dogon, one that connected them with the gods or the cosmos? In addition to the cliff dwellings, the escarpment is also home to a series of ancient granaries, many of which are positioned on the very edge of the cliffs. These granaries, built to store food and grain, are often constructed in the shape of cylindrical towers, some reaching impressive heights. Their positioning atop the escarpment is puzzling. Why place vital food stores in such precarious locations, seemingly far removed from the main settlements? Were these granaries meant to be protected from potential theft or enemies? Or were they part of a larger system of trade and resource distribution that we still don't fully understand? The unusual placement of these granaries speaks to the careful, deliberate planning of the Dogon, yet it leaves us wondering if there is more to the purpose of these structures than meets the eye. One of the most striking aspects of the Bandiagara escarpment's cliffside structures is the sheer difficulty of constructing and accessing them. The Dogon would have had to navigate treacherous terrain, scaling cliffs with the most basic tools, relying on rope and primitive ladders to reach their homes. How did they manage such feats of engineering with such limited resources? Were these architectural achievements the result of generations of accumulated knowledge, or did the Dogon possess lost or forgotten techniques, passed down through a now-vanished culture? The complexity and skill required to build and maintain these structures suggest a people with a deep understanding of their environment and remarkable ingenuity, but there is still so much we don't know about their methods. Adding to the mystery is the fact that these cliff dwellings have been abandoned for centuries. While the Dogon people still live in the region, many of the cliffside homes and granaries are no longer in use. Why did the Dogon leave these impressive structures behind? Some suggest that it may have been due to changing social or economic conditions. Perhaps the growing pressures of war or a shift in the region's political dynamics forced them to abandon their cliffside homes. Others speculate that environmental factors, such as a change in climate or soil erosion, may have made the cliffside settlements unsustainable. Could there have been a gradual migration from these awe-inspiring cliffs to more accessible lowland areas? Or was there a more sudden, catastrophic event that led to the abandonment of these ancient homes? Compounding the mystery are the Dogon's fascinating but largely unverified oral traditions. The Dogon have long maintained that they received their knowledge of the stars and their religious practices from ancient visitors from the Sirius star system, beings they call the Namo. These teachings, which are said to have been passed down for generations, are remarkably accurate, even by modern astronomical standards. Some scholars have posited that the Dogon's detailed knowledge of Sirius could have come from contact with ancient civilizations that had access to advanced astronomical tools. But others point to the possibility that the Dogon's knowledge was the result of a much older, perhaps forgotten, cultural exchange. Could the Dogon's ancestors have interacted with other advanced societies in the distant past, leaving behind traces of knowledge that have persisted in their oral traditions? The Bandiagara escarpment, with its cliffside dwellings and mysterious history, stands as a testament to the enduring resilience of the Dogon people. Yet it also raises more questions than it answers. How did the Dogon manage to build such sophisticated structures in such a harsh environment? Why were these cliff dwellings constructed with such precision and care? And what role did the escarpment play in the spiritual and social life of the Dogon civilization? As we stand before these monumental ruins, the silence of the cliffs speaks volumes, but the answers, if they exist, remain buried deep within the stones, waiting to be uncovered. Could there still be more to learn about the Dogon and the secrets they left behind on the Bandiagara escarpment? The mystery endures, inviting us to look closer, listen harder, and question what we think we know about the ancient world. As we leave the enigmatic cliffs of Bandiagara behind, we now turn our attention to another megalithic mystery in the heart of Europe. In the sun-dappled hills of Andalusia, Spain, a quiet yet powerful reminder of an ancient past lies nestled within the landscape. The Dolmen of Menga. Standing in stark contrast to the rolling fields of olive groves and Mediterranean vegetation, this colossal stone structure has endured the passage of millennia, offering us a rare glimpse into the distant world of the prehistoric peoples who once called this place home. The Dolmen of Menga is part of a much larger complex of megalithic tombs known as the Antequera Dolmens, which have been classified as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. These structures, which date back to the late Neolithic period, around 3000 BCE, stand as a testament to the architectural ingenuity of a civilization that existed long before the rise of the great empires of Egypt, Greece, and Rome. The Dolmen of Menga is perhaps the most famous of these megalithic structures, and for good reason. It is a massive, imposing structure, built from enormous stones, some weighing as much as 180 tons, and designed with remarkable precision. The dolmen consists of a series of upright stones, which support a vast capstone, forming a corridor or passage that leads to a central chamber. As we approach the structure, the scale of Menga becomes immediately apparent. The tomb is nearly 25 meters long and over 6 meters high, with the great capstone resting on a series of vertical stones arranged in a horseshoe shape. The capstone, which is one of the largest known in Europe, seems almost impossibly heavy, and one can only wonder how it was moved and placed with such precision. The structure itself exudes an air of solemnity, its stone walls weathered by centuries of wind and rain, yet still standing firm against the relentless march of time. But what is most striking about the Dolmen of Menga is not just its size or engineering, but its mysterious purpose. Scholars generally agree that the dolmen was built as a burial tomb, likely for an important individual or group of individuals. The orientation of the structure, with its long passageway leading into the central chamber, suggests that it was designed to serve as a final resting place for the dead. However, the exact reasons behind the dolmen's construction remain elusive, and there are many unanswered questions about how it was used, who built it, and what role it played in the spiritual and social life of the people who created it. What is particularly puzzling about the Dolmen of Menga is the complexity and scale of its construction. How were these massive stones, some of which are more than 5 meters long and 2 meters wide, transported to this remote location? The builders of Menga lacked the advanced technology we associate with later cultures, yet they were able to create a structure that rivals the Great Pyramids of Egypt in its engineering. The stones themselves are made of a type of granite that is not native to the area, which raises the question of how they were sourced and transported over such great distances. Was there an advanced system of levers, rollers, and ramps used to move these massive stones? Or did the builders possess knowledge or techniques that have been lost to history? Some archaeologists suggest that the dolmen was constructed in multiple phases, with the initial stones being placed first, followed by the enormous capstone, which would have required a considerable amount of manpower and ingenuity to lift into place. The sheer scale of the construction effort would have required a large, organized workforce, and the complex design suggests that the builders possessed advanced knowledge of geometry and engineering. Yet, despite extensive excavation and research, we still have little understanding of how the dolmen was constructed or what tools were used. Could there have been a lost technology or method that allowed the ancient builders to achieve such feats? Or was their success simply the result of an extraordinary combination of labor, skill, and ingenuity? Beyond the technical aspects of its construction, the purpose of the Dolmen of Menga remains a subject of intense speculation. While many scholars agree that it was likely a burial site, there are several intriguing features of the structure that suggest a deeper, perhaps more spiritual or symbolic function. For one, the alignment of the dolmen with the surrounding landscape is striking. The entrance to the tomb faces toward the rising sun, and some researchers have proposed that the tomb may have been intended to align with the celestial movements, possibly serving as an astronomical observatory or a site for rituals tied to the changing seasons. The fact that the dolmen is built in a way that incorporates both the natural environment and the cosmos suggests that the builders may have had a deep understanding of the movements of the stars, the sun, and the moon. Could this be evidence of an early form of astronomical knowledge, long before the rise of the great civilizations of Mesopotamia or Egypt? Adding to the mystery is the presence of several other megalithic structures in the surrounding area, including a second dolmen known as the Dolmen of Viera. The Antequera dolmens, which also include the Tholos tombs of Menga and Viera, seem to form a complex network of structures, many of which appear to be aligned with specific points on the horizon. Could this be evidence of a larger cultural or religious system, where the positioning of these structures was tied to spiritual beliefs or ritual practices? Were these tombs used not only for burial but also for astronomical or ceremonial purposes? The presence of a large number of human remains found within the dolmen also raises questions about the significance of death and the afterlife in the belief system of the builders. The elaborate nature of the tomb suggests that the individuals buried here may have been of high social or religious standing. Were these individuals considered to be important ancestors or deities by the people who built the tomb? Did the construction of such a monumental structure serve as a way to honor and remember the deceased, ensuring that their spirits would live on in the afterlife? As with many ancient sites, there are also more speculative theories surrounding the Dolmen of Menga. Some fringe theories suggest that the dolmen could have been used for purposes far beyond simple burial. Could it have been a place of healing, where the sick or wounded were brought in the hopes of receiving spiritual or physical restoration? Or was it, as some theorists propose, a place of initiation, where individuals underwent transformative rites of passage, perhaps even connected to a lost or ancient spiritual tradition? In recent years, the Dolmen of Menga has also become the subject of new theories concerning its connection to other ancient megalithic sites around Europe. The alignment of the dolmen with other similar structures, such as the megalithic tombs of Brittany or the ancient stone circles of the British Isles, has led some researchers to propose that these sites were once part of a far-reaching, interconnected network of ancient cultures with shared knowledge and beliefs. Could these early builders have been part of a larger pan-European network, exchanging ideas, resources, and perhaps even people? The similarities between the dolmens of Menga and those found in other parts of Europe are striking, but we are still left wondering if these connections are the result of shared cultural traditions or the remnants of a forgotten civilization. As we stand before the mighty dolmen of Menga, its massive stones rising from the earth, we are left with more questions than answers. The structure remains an enduring mystery, its purpose, construction, and meaning still unclear. What secrets are hidden within the stones of Menga, waiting to be uncovered? Could there be more to the story of this ancient tomb than we can yet comprehend? Perhaps the answers lie in the alignment of the stars, or in the ancient rituals of a long-lost civilization. But for now, the Dolmen of Menga stands as an enigmatic monument to a people whose legacy, though vast, remains veiled in the mists of time. As we leave behind the timeless stones of Spain, we now journey across the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean to the small but significant islands of Tonga. Here, on the island of Nuku'alofa, stands an ancient structure that seems to defy both time and explanation, the Ha'amonga, a Maui Trilithon. This imposing formation of massive limestone stones is a remarkable feat of prehistoric engineering, and like many megalithic sites around the world, it continues to captivate the imagination of historians, archaeologists, and curious minds alike. The Ha'amonga, a Maui Trilithon, is a striking and enigmatic structure, composed of three massive stones arranged in a doorway-like shape. The central upright stone, which serves as the key support, is flanked by two horizontally placed stones, creating an archway that is at once simple and awe-inspiring. Standing at over 5 meters high, this monumental Trilithon is thought to be a gateway to another time. Its exact age and purpose still elude modern scholars. The name Ha'amonga a Maui translates roughly to the burden of Maui, with Maui referring to the legendary Polynesian demigod. In local tradition, Maui is known for his strength and for performing feats that shaped the islands and the seas. According to legend, the Trilithon was erected by Maui to serve as a gateway or marker, and it holds a place of significance in Tongan mythology. However, whether this ancient structure was indeed constructed by a demigod or by the people of the time is part of the ongoing mystery surrounding its origins. When you stand before the Ha'amonga a Maui, the first thing that strikes you is the sheer scale and precision of the stones. The massive uprights, each weighing several tons, are carefully positioned with remarkable accuracy. The stones themselves are made from a limestone that is not native to the island, suggesting that the builders either had access to quarries elsewhere or possessed advanced knowledge of stone sourcing and transport. This raises the question, how were these stones moved and placed with such precision, especially given the limited tools and technology available to the ancient Polynesians? Some historians speculate that the construction of the Ha'amonga a Maui could have been achieved through a combination of levers, ropes, and simple machines. The Polynesians, after all, were expert navigators and seafarers, and they demonstrated an impressive understanding of engineering and construction. However, despite these plausible explanations, there is still no definitive answer as to how such an enormous structure could have been erected on a relatively small island with such limited resources. Could the builders have had access to techniques that have since been forgotten? Or was there a more profound, unknown method at play? One of the most intriguing aspects of the Ha'amonga a Maui is the structure's alignment with the natural world. The Trilithon is situated in such a way that its central archway aligns with the rising sun at certain times of the year, particularly during the solstices. This precise alignment suggests that the structure was not merely a decorative or ceremonial object, but rather a tool for marking time, perhaps serving as a calendar or astronomical observatory. Was it used by the ancient Polynesians to track celestial events, such as the sun's movements, or was it more closely tied to their spiritual practices, marking significant moments in their yearly cycles? The possibility that the Ha'amonga a Maui served as an astronomical tool introduces a fascinating dimension to its function, and yet the true reason behind its placement and alignment remains open to interpretation. Adding to the mystery is the fact that the structure's purpose and meaning are not fully understood, even by those who have studied Polynesian culture and history. While it is widely accepted that the Ha'amonga a Maui is connected to Tongan royalty and the island's ancient rulers, there is no consensus on whether it was purely a ceremonial site, a navigational marker, or a tomb or monument to a specific individual or deity. Some local traditions suggest that it was built to honor a king or to mark the territory of the Tongan monarchy, while others propose that it was part of a larger network of ceremonial sites, perhaps acting as a sacred gateway into the realm of the gods. Given the Tongan belief in a deeply spiritual connection between the living and the divine, it is possible that the Trilithon served as a portal through which the spiritual world could be accessed, symbolizing the passage from one world to another. The oral traditions of the Tongan people add another layer of mystery to the story of the Ha'amonga a Maui. According to some legends, the structure was built by the demigod Maui, who is said to have used his immense strength to transport the massive stones across the island. These stories, while clearly rooted in myth, highlight the importance of the Ha'amonga a Maui as a cultural and spiritual landmark. Could these legends contain hidden truths about the structure's origins, or are they simply symbolic stories passed down through generations? What is undeniable, however, is the way in which the Trilithon has become a central part of Tongan identity. a powerful symbol of the island's rich cultural heritage, adding to the enigma of the Ha'amanga. A Maui is its connection to other megalithic structures found across the Pacific. Polynesian cultures, despite their isolation on remote islands, are known to have shared many similar practices and beliefs, particularly in relation to astronomy and the construction of ceremonial structures. The alignment of the Ha'amanga, a Maui with celestial events, suggests that it may have been part of a broader tradition of megalithic construction in the Pacific Islands. Could the Trilithon be one piece of a larger puzzle, connecting the islands of the Pacific through shared knowledge of astronomy and sacred architecture? Some fringe theories also propose that the Ha'amanga, a Maui, could be linked to ancient civilizations beyond Polynesia. There are those who suggest that the Tongan people and other Polynesian cultures may have been influenced by or even in contact with other ancient civilizations, such as those of Southeast Asia, South America, or even the distant lands of the Mediterranean. While there is no concrete evidence to support these theories, the remarkable similarities between the megalithic structures of different cultures across the globe continue to spark debate. Could the Polynesians have had access to knowledge or technology that was shared across ancient cultures? Or is the Ha'amanga, a Maui, simply a local expression of the universal human impulse to build monumental structures that connect us to the heavens? Even as we explore the Ha'amanga, a Maui, it becomes clear that much about this incredible structure remains hidden. Theories abound, but none can fully explain the origin, purpose, or methods behind its construction. The legend of Maui and the many myths that surround the Trilithon only deepen the mystery, leaving us to ponder what truths remain locked in the stones of this ancient monument. As we stand before the Ha'amanga, a Maui, its towering stones casting long shadows across the island, one question lingers. What secrets does this ancient structure still hold? And what more might we learn as we continue to uncover the mysteries of the Pacific's ancient past? After traveling across the Pacific Ocean to Tonga and exploring the Ha'amanga, a Maui Trilithon, we now journey to the towering heights of the Andes Mountains, where another ancient enigma awaits, Sacsayhuamán. Situated on the outskirts of Cusco, Peru, this imposing archaeological site stands as a testament to the engineering prowess and spiritual significance of the Inca civilization, yet its full purpose and methods of construction remain cloaked in mystery. Sacsayhuamán is not just a single structure, but rather a sprawling complex of massive stone walls, terraces, and platforms that once formed part of a ceremonial center. The most striking feature of Sacsayhuamán is its colossal stone walls, which are built from massive blocks of granite, some weighing as much as 120 tons. These stones are so precisely fitted together that not a single gap can be detected between them, despite centuries of weathering and the tremors of countless earthquakes. It is a feat of ancient engineering that still baffles archaeologists today. How did the Incas, who lacked the advanced tools and technology of modern construction, manage to transport and cut such massive stones with such extraordinary precision? As we approach the site, the sheer scale of Sacsayhuamán becomes immediately apparent. The walls, which stretch for hundreds of meters, rise up from the valley floor in a series of serpentine curves, giving the impression of an ancient fortress or temple. The stone blocks, carefully cut to fit together without mortar, create a nearly seamless surface. The walls are so well fitted that even a piece of paper cannot slip between them. But what makes this structure even more remarkable is that the stones are not uniformly shaped. Some are rectangular, others trapezoidal, and still others are irregular in form. Despite their varying shapes, each stone fits perfectly with its neighbor, creating a structure that appears to defy the laws of engineering. The precision with which these stones were cut and arranged raises profound questions. How did the Incas achieve such accuracy, and what tools did they have at their disposal? Mainstream archaeology suggests that the Incas used simple tools like copper chisels, hammers, and abrasion techniques to shape the stones. They also likely employed levers, ropes, and ramps to transport the massive blocks from distant quarries. However, no definitive evidence of the tools or techniques used to cut the stones has been discovered. The precision and scale of the work suggest that the Inca engineers had a far more sophisticated understanding of geometry and stone-cutting techniques than we have yet uncovered. Could the Inca be hiding secrets of construction techniques that have been lost over time? Some scholars have speculated that the construction of Sacsayhuamán could have been a collective effort, involving not just the Inca themselves, but also other ancient cultures that preceded them in the region. Could the Incas have inherited these techniques from an even older, now forgotten civilization? There are no clear answers, and the possibility of lost knowledge from a distant past lingers in the background of this mystery. Could the Inca, with their impressive infrastructure and remarkable achievements in agriculture, engineering, and warfare, have been drawing on a deeper well of ancient knowledge passed down through generations of builders? As we delve deeper into the purpose of Sacsayhuamán, we encounter even more mysteries. The site's exact function remains a subject of debate. It is widely believed to have served as a ceremonial center, possibly used for religious rituals and festivals, and its proximity to Cusco, the spiritual and political capital of the Inca Empire, only adds weight to this theory. Some researchers propose that Sacsayhuamán was a symbol of the Incas' power, built to impress and to demonstrate their dominance over both the landscape and the surrounding peoples. The site's walls, with their massive stones and intricate design, seem to speak to the Incas' sense of awe and reverence for their gods and ancestors. Yet, there are elements of Sacsayhuamán that suggest its purpose may have been even more complex. The alignment of the site with the surrounding landscape, its connection to the hills and valleys, the way the walls appear to follow the contours of the land, has led some to propose that the site was also tied to astronomical or agricultural practices. The Incas were known for their profound connection to the natural world, and they based much of their religious and agricultural calendar on the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Could the positioning of the walls and platforms have been designed to align with celestial events, such as solstices and equinoxes? Was Sacsayhuamán not only a ceremonial center, but also an astronomical observatory used to track the passage of time and the cycles of nature? Adding to the intrigue is the fact that the site seems to have been deliberately destroyed during the Spanish conquest. In the 16th century, after the fall of the Inca Empire, the Spanish conquistadors razed much of the complex, dismantling the stone walls and using the stones for their own buildings. Today, much of Sacsayhuamán remains in ruins, and the precise extent of the site's original layout is difficult to determine. What remains, however, is enough to convey the sense of an ancient power that was both awe-inspiring and mysterious. Why was the site targeted by the Spanish invaders, and what knowledge or power did they believe it held? There are also more speculative theories surrounding Sacsayhuamán. Some fringe researchers have suggested that the site could have been the work of an ancient, advanced civilization far beyond the Incas, perhaps one with knowledge of lost technologies or even extraterrestrial influence. Such theories often draw on the remarkable precision of the stonework and the enigmatic nature of the site's construction. Could the Incas or their predecessors have had access to technologies that allowed them to cut and shape stones in ways that modern science cannot replicate? Were they in contact with civilizations from beyond the stars, receiving guidance or knowledge that has since been lost to history? While these ideas are often dismissed by mainstream scholars, they reflect the ongoing fascination with Sacsayhuamán and the unanswered questions it presents. Whether the site was built by the Incas or another, older civilization, and whether it served purely as a ceremonial space or had a more practical astronomical function, remains a subject of debate. What is undeniable is the sheer magnitude and complexity of the site, and the questions it raises about the capabilities of ancient cultures. As we stand before the towering walls of Sacsayhuamán, we are left to reflect on the mysteries that still surround this ancient site. What was the true purpose of these walls, and how did the builders manage to create such an enduring monument to their culture and beliefs? The answers may lie in the stones themselves, in the knowledge and methods of the Incas, or in the legacy of an even older civilization. But for now, Sacsayhuamán stands as a reminder of the complexity and mystery of ancient history, inviting us to look deeper and question what we know about the past. What more might be uncovered as we continue to explore the hidden secrets of the Inca Empire? Only time will tell. As we leave behind the enigmatic stone walls of Sacsayhuamán, we now journey deeper into the heart of the Andean highlands of Peru, where another mystery waits to be uncovered. Aramu Muru, hidden within the rocky landscape near Lake Titicaca. This ancient site is far less known than the famous ruins of Machu Picchu or the fortress of Ollantaytambo, yet it holds a compelling and eerie allure. Known for its mysterious rock formation, a massive stone doorway carved into a cliff face, Aramu Muru has long been a subject of fascination and intrigue. What was its purpose, and how did it come to be? The site is relatively secluded, located in the Puno region, on the southern edge of the vast Altiplano. As you approach the rock formation, you are immediately struck by the sight of the immense stone doorway embedded into the cliffside. The doorway itself measures about 2.5 meters tall and is carved from the solid rock of the mountain. The edges are sharp and clean, as though it were once a functioning portal. The stone is smooth and polished in places, creating an almost surreal contrast against the jagged, weathered rock surrounding it. It's easy to imagine how, centuries ago, the doorway might have appeared as a gateway to another world, or to some spiritual realm, an entryway where only the chosen or the sacred could pass through. Yet, as with so many other ancient sites, there is no definitive answer to the question of who built Aramu Muru or why. The site is sometimes referred to as the Gate of the Gods by local legends, a name that adds an air of mysticism to the already enigmatic location. According to these legends, the stone doorway was not merely a simple rock formation, but a portal, an interdimensional gateway through which gods or advanced beings traveled. While these ideas remain firmly in the realm of folklore, they reflect the deeper mystery of Aramu Muru. What exactly was its purpose? Was it a doorway to another world or simply a ceremonial space? The ambiguity only heightens the intrigue surrounding the site. The official, academic explanation for Aramu Muru is that it was likely a symbolic or ceremonial site, a place of worship or ritual use. It is sometimes linked to the Inca Empire, though the exact nature of its construction and use remains uncertain. The Incas, known for their profound connection to both the natural and spiritual worlds, built many sacred sites that aligned with astronomical events and the cycles of the earth. Could this stone doorway have been part of a larger complex, used in ceremonial rituals or as a symbolic representation of passage or transformation? It's not hard to imagine that such a structure could have served as a threshold, both physical and spiritual, between the living world and the divine. The positioning of Aramu Muru also adds to the sense of mystery. It is located in a region rich with ancient sites, close to the sacred waters of Lake Titicaca, a place that holds immense spiritual significance for the Andean peoples. In the Andean worldview, lakes and mountains were often considered the abode of gods and spirits, and places near them were treated as sacred. Was Aramu Muru built to align with these natural elements? Did the doorway once serve as a marker for the changing seasons, the path of the sun, or the lunar cycles, similar to other Incan structures that are aligned with celestial events? Interestingly, Aramu Muru is not the only site in the region that features a similar rock formation. Other gateways exist across Peru and Bolivia, some of which, like Aramu Muru, are found near water or elevated sites. These include sites like the ancient Silistani burial towers, which also feature intricate stonework and ceremonial associations. Could these various gates be part of a broader tradition? An interconnected network of sacred sites that were used for specific spiritual purposes? If these sites were indeed connected in some way, what role did they play in the lives of the people who built them? Were they part of a grander cosmological or religious system that we have yet to fully understand? Beyond the Inca, there are other theories that suggest Aramu Muru may have been constructed by an even earlier civilization, one that predates the Inca Empire. Some speculate that it was built by the Tiwanaku culture, whose ruins near Lake Titicaca also reflect highly advanced knowledge of architecture and engineering. The Tiwanaku people, who flourished between 500 and 1000 AD, are known for their impressive stonework and mysterious ruins, including the famous Gateway of the Sun. Could the site have been part of the Tiwanaku's religious or astronomical practices, influencing later cultures like the Inca? The possibility of a lost civilization with advanced knowledge of stone construction and celestial alignments adds another layer to the mystery of Aramu Muru. There are also fringe theories that explore the idea of Aramu Muru as an ancient technology, with some suggesting that it could have been a kind of portal or device used for traveling between dimensions or realms. This theory often draws on the site's unusual appearance and its association with the idea of gates to another world. While there is no evidence to support such a claim, the concept of a gateway or portal resonates with those who are drawn to the mystery of the unknown and the possibility that ancient cultures may have had knowledge or technologies that are beyond our current understanding. Could it be that Aramu Muru is more than just a ceremonial site, but a physical representation of ancient knowledge about the nature of reality itself? Even more intriguing is the connection that some theorists draw between Aramu Muru and other so-called doorways or gates that are found across the world. Sites like the Egyptian pyramids, the stone circles of Europe, and the massive megalithic structures of the Pacific Islands all seem to share a symbolic connection to the concept of doorways or passageways to other realms. Are these all part of a larger global tradition? One that stretches back to the earliest days of human civilization? The idea that ancient peoples were connected by shared knowledge of sacred sites and spiritual practices is an alluring thought, though no concrete evidence exists to support it. Still, the possibility remains, adding to the allure of Aramu Muru as a piece of a larger global puzzle. As we stand before the ancient stone doorway of Aramu Muru, we are left to contemplate its true purpose. Was it a portal to another world, a ceremonial site, or something else entirely? Theories abound, but none can fully explain the site's significance. What knowledge did the people who built Aramu Muru possess, and why was this doorway created in such a dramatic and mysterious way? Could there be hidden chambers or further structures beneath the earth waiting to be uncovered? As the sun sets behind the towering cliffs of the Altiplano, we are reminded that many of the mysteries of the ancient world remain unsolved, and that Aramu Muru, with its silent stone doorway, continues to invite us to ask questions and to seek the answers that may still lie hidden in the landscape. After leaving behind the mystic stone gateways of Peru, we now turn our attention to Eastern Europe, to a land shrouded in ancient myth and history, Romania. Nestled in the remote forests of the Orăștie Mountains, there exists an archaeological site that remains one of the most enigmatic and awe-inspiring in the region, Sarmizegetusa Regia. Once the capital of the Dacian kingdom, this ancient fortress complex is a remarkable blend of architecture, astronomy, and spirituality, and it holds secrets that have yet to be fully unraveled. As we approach the site, the first thing that strikes you is its atmosphere. There's an eerie silence here, as if the land itself is holding its breath. The remains of what was once a thriving, fortified city stretch across the landscape, offering a glimpse into the long-lost world of the Dacians, a people who were later absorbed into the Roman Empire. The ruins of Sarmizegetusa Regia are both grand and haunting, scattered across the steep hills and dense forests. What remains of the site, its terraced platforms, circular stone walls, and massive fortifications, speaks to an advanced civilization that has all but vanished from history. Sarmizegetusa Regia was the heart of the Dacian kingdom, the capital of King Decebalus, who fiercely resisted Roman conquest in the early 2nd century AD. The city, which dates back to the 1st century BC, is thought to have been the political, military, and religious center of the Dacians. The strategic location of the site, perched on a high plateau, provided a commanding view of the surrounding valleys and mountains, making it an ideal defensive position. It is a place that once thrived with life, but today it is a ruin, yet still an imposing one. One of the most striking features of Sarmizegetusa Regia is its circular and semicircular structures, most notably the sacred precincts, where large stone slabs, arranged in precise formations, suggest an ancient understanding of astronomy and the heavens. These structures have been interpreted as ceremonial or religious sites, perhaps used for rituals or as part of an ancient calendar system. But the true function of these extraordinary stone formations remains uncertain. How did the Dacians, with their relatively limited technology, manage to align these structures with such precision? What makes these stone circles and sacred enclosures even more intriguing is the possibility that they were designed to align with celestial events. In particular, some researchers believe the site may have been used as an astronomical observatory, with structures aligned to track the movement of the sun, moon, and stars. The central arrangement of stones, with its carefully planned positioning, hints at an advanced knowledge of geometry and celestial cycles, which could have allowed the Dacians to predict solar and lunar eclipses or track the changing of the seasons. This raises the question: did the Dacians possess astronomical knowledge on par with, or even exceeding, that of other ancient cultures, such as the Egyptians or the Babylonians? The largest and most famous structure at Sarmizegetusa Regia is the Dacian Circular Sanctuary, which is thought to have served as both a temple and a center for astronomical observation. It consists of a series of concentric stone rings, each precisely placed to align with the cardinal directions. This structure's symmetry and precision speak to an extraordinary level of understanding. Yet there is still no consensus on how the Dacians achieved such a feat. Did they have advanced techniques, lost to time, that allowed them to move and shape these massive stones? Could there have been influences from other ancient civilizations, or was the knowledge self-developed? These questions linger, and scholars continue to debate the origins of such advanced building practices. There is also the question of the Dacians' seemingly sophisticated use of water management systems. The remnants of several cisterns and water channels around the site suggest that the Dacians had an intricate understanding of hydrology, allowing them to maintain a secure and sustainable water supply. The presence of these systems, carved into the rock, raises further questions. Were they simply functional, or did they have a deeper symbolic significance? Was water considered sacred, and did these water systems serve a ritual purpose connected to the spiritual life of the city? As we delve deeper into the history of Sarmizegetusa Regia, the mysteries multiply. After the Roman conquest of Dacia in 106 AD, the site was abandoned and largely destroyed, and much of its original purpose was obscured. The Romans, under Emperor Trajan, took control of the region, and the Dacian capital fell. Yet, the ruins of Sarmizegetusa Regia remain, as if frozen in time, with the unanswered questions of its original inhabitants still lingering in the air. What makes the site even more intriguing is the fact that the Dacians, although known for their fierce resistance against Rome, left behind no written records. Instead, we are left to piece together their history from archaeological evidence, much of which has been lost, altered, or destroyed over time. As a result, Sarmizegetusa Regia remains shrouded in mystery, its full significance elusive. The lack of written accounts forces us to rely on the remaining physical structures, offering tantalizing glimpses into a world that is no longer accessible to us. In the early 20th century, some scholars even speculated that the Dacians may have been influenced by ancient civilizations from the East, particularly those in Mesopotamia or the ancient Near East. The Dacians, with their complex rituals, advanced stonework, and astronomical knowledge, may have had contact with these cultures through trade or migration, leaving behind traces of their influence in Sarmizegetusa Regia. Could the Dacians have been part of a larger, lost cultural exchange network that spanned the ancient world? Could there be undiscovered links between the Dacians and other ancient civilizations that have yet to be found? Fringe theories add even more complexity to the mystery of Sarmizegetusa Regia. Some suggest that the Dacians, or perhaps an even older civilization, had access to technologies that we have yet to replicate. The precision with which the stones at Sarmizegetusa Regia were cut and positioned is unlike anything we can replicate with modern tools, and some believe that the Dacians may have had access to lost technologies, perhaps even involving advanced machinery or energy sources. Could the Dacians have understood principles of physics and engineering that were lost after their kingdom fell? Were they privy to knowledge that was passed down from an ancient, prehistoric civilization? As we stand before the ruins of Sarmizegetusa Regia, we are left with more questions than answers. What drove the Dacians to build such an extraordinary city in the heart of the Carpathian Mountains? How did they achieve such advanced knowledge of astronomy, architecture, and water management? And why was this once great center of civilization abandoned and destroyed by the Romans? Despite centuries of exploration, excavation, and research, the mysteries of Sarmizegetusa Regia remain unsolved. The grand stone structures, the astronomical alignments, and the echoes of a civilization long gone continue to haunt the site, inviting us to look deeper, think harder, and question the true origins of this fascinating culture. Could there be more to uncover in the ruins of Sarmizegetusa Regia? Or is the full story of the Dacians forever lost to time? The answers remain hidden, leaving us to ponder what might still be concealed beneath the earth and stone. After unraveling the mysteries of the ancient Dacian capital of Sarmizegetusa Regia, we now journey east toward the Caucasus Mountains of Armenia, to a site that, though less known to the world, carries with it an eerie resonance. Here, nestled in the Ararat Plain, far from the beaten paths of modern history, lies Karahunj, a megalithic site sometimes referred to as the Armenian Stonehenge. This enigmatic complex, older than the more famous stone circles of Britain, beckons with an air of intrigue and reverence, much like an ancient puzzle that refuses to be solved. Karahunj is situated near the town of Sisian, and as you approach it, the landscape unfolds with dramatic beauty. The site is positioned at an altitude of about 1,800 meters, surrounded by expansive views of the mountains, with the massive Mount Ararat looming in the distance. The terrain is rugged, dotted with large volcanic stones that form the foundation of this extraordinary site. At first glance, Karahunj appears as a collection of upright stones arranged in circles and alignments, much like other megalithic sites around the world. But as you delve deeper, the peculiarities of Karahunj become apparent, hinting at a purpose far beyond mere ceremonial or decorative intent. The site consists of over 200 standing stones, many of which are carved with intriguing shapes, most notably holes. These holes, ranging in size, have sparked considerable debate among archaeologists. Some suggest that these stones were intended to serve as an early astronomical observatory. The holes in the stones are thought to have been used to align with specific celestial bodies, such as stars, the sun, and perhaps even the moon. This theory suggests that the ancient inhabitants of Karahunj, likely a pre-Iranian culture, had a sophisticated understanding of the cosmos, utilizing the stones to track the movements of celestial bodies and time their agricultural cycles. Could these stones have been used to chart the stars and planets with an accuracy that rivaled the best of ancient civilizations? The most famous of these megalithic structures is a group of standing stones arranged in a series of circles. The alignment of these stones is no accident. It appears to follow the cardinal directions with a surprising degree of precision. Some stones are placed in such a way that they form geometric patterns that are far more advanced than might be expected from the time they were constructed. This has led many to ask, were these formations used as part of an ancient astronomical calendar? Or was the site constructed for a different, more symbolic purpose, perhaps tied to the religious or cultural practices of the people who built it? The idea of Karahunj as an astronomical observatory is not without merit. Some researchers have pointed to the site's alignment with certain constellations, most notably the Orion constellation, which many ancient cultures revered for its spiritual significance. The positioning of the stones, when viewed at specific times of the year, appears to mark the passage of celestial events, such as solstices and equinoxes. If true, this would place Karahunj among the oldest known observatories, predating Stonehenge by millennia. However, the evidence remains circumstantial, as no written records or direct proof have been found to confirm these theories. Could the site have been used to predict celestial events, guiding the agricultural practices of the people who lived there, or perhaps marking sacred moments in their religious rituals? Adding to the mystery is the question of who exactly built Karahunj. The site is often associated with the Urartians, an ancient civilization that flourished in the region around the 9th century BC. The Urartians were known for their advanced engineering and architecture, and some scholars suggest that they may have inherited or even perfected the techniques seen in Karahunj. Others, however, believe the site predates the Urartians by several centuries, possibly even millennia, suggesting that the people who constructed Karahunj were part of a much older civilization, one whose knowledge of astronomy and engineering was far beyond what we typically associate with ancient cultures. Could there have been an even older, forgotten civilization in the Caucasus region, whose legacy was passed down in the form of Karahunj? Beyond the scientific theories, there are more speculative ideas about the site. Some believe that Karahunj holds a mystical significance, an ancient temple to the gods or a site of spiritual power. The alignment of the stones with celestial bodies could suggest that the people who constructed the site believed in an intimate connection between the heavens and the earth. In this view, Karahunj could have been a place where the physical and the spiritual worlds met, a sacred space where the alignment of the stones allowed the ancients to commune with the divine. The carvings on the stones, especially the holes and unusual markings, might have served a ceremonial function, allowing priests or shamans to make offerings or perform rituals under the watchful gaze of the stars. Fringe theories surrounding Karahunj add another layer of intrigue. Some have suggested that the site was not merely an observatory or religious temple, but that it may have had other, more extraordinary uses. Could it have been a power generator of some kind, harnessing the natural energy of the earth? Could the stones have been arranged to tap into Earth's magnetic fields or harness cosmic energies, providing the inhabitants with some form of advanced technology that has since been lost to time? These theories often evoke comparisons with other megalithic sites around the world, such as the Great Pyramids of Egypt or the standing stones of Stonehenge, where researchers have long speculated that ancient people might have been tapping into some form of energy or resonance. Despite these imaginative theories, the most widely accepted view is that Karahunj served a purely ceremonial and practical purpose, used by ancient people to track the movement of celestial bodies and perhaps to mark significant events in their religious or agricultural calendar. The more mystical interpretations are difficult to prove, and yet they persist, an enduring testament to the fascination that Karahunj and other ancient megalithic sites continue to inspire. What makes Karahunj truly compelling, however, is the lack of definitive answers. Much of its history remains hidden beneath the stones and the dust of time. Despite being studied for decades, the site offers few concrete answers, leaving many questions unresolved. What kind of people built this extraordinary site, and why? What did they know about the stars and the natural world that we have since forgotten? And what did they hope to achieve by erecting these massive stones, aligned with such precision? The more we learn about Karahunj, the more we realize how much remains shrouded in mystery. Like many ancient sites, it forces us to confront our assumptions about the past and challenges us to consider the possibility that our understanding of ancient cultures and their capabilities may be far more limited than we think. What secrets might Karahunj still hold, hidden within its stones and celestial alignments? Could further excavation or advances in technology reveal new insights into its true purpose? The answers may lie buried beneath the earth, waiting for someone to uncover them. As we step back from the site, the towering stones of Karahunj stand like silent sentinels, their enigmatic presence commanding attention. And as the sun sets behind the mountains, one can't help but wonder, what remains to be discovered in this ancient stone circle? And how much more is there to learn about the people who once looked to the stars from this sacred place? After exploring the mysterious megalithic site of Karahunj in Armenia, we now move westward to the heart of South America, to the landlocked country of Bolivia, where another enigma quietly awaits: Samaipata Rock. Situated in the foothills of the Andes, near the town of Samaipata, this vast and enigmatic stone formation is one of Bolivia's most compelling yet least understood archaeological wonders. Like many ancient sites, it speaks to a civilization long gone, yet its purpose, the identity of its creators, and its place in history remain elusive. Samaipata Rock, a sprawling sandstone outcrop, towers over the surrounding landscape like a silent sentinel. From a distance, it appears almost unremarkable, just a large, weathered rock formation blending seamlessly with the natural surroundings. But upon closer inspection, the rock reveals itself to be far more than just a geological feature. Its surface is etched with intricate carvings and shapes that speak of an advanced understanding of geometry, art, and possibly spirituality. Stretching across an area of more than 1,000 meters in length, the carvings include a wide range of shapes, large geometric patterns, a series of steps, channels, and most notably, the enigmatic main central carving, which is often interpreted as a symbolic figure. The rock formation as a whole presents itself as an artwork, but one whose purpose is still debated and whose meaning remains shrouded in mystery. The site is believed to have been a sacred space for ancient cultures long before the Inca Empire arrived in the region. Archaeological evidence suggests that the rock was carved sometime around 2,000 years ago, though some estimates place the site's creation even earlier, perhaps as far back as 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. Its alignment with the sun, the positions of the carved figures, and its proximity to natural landmarks suggest that Samaipata Rock may have served as both a ceremonial center and an astronomical observatory. The Incas, who later conquered the region, certainly left their mark on the site, but it is widely believed that the rock's significance predates Incan rule by many centuries. Could Samaipata Rock have been a sacred place for an earlier, lost civilization, one whose practices and beliefs were inherited by the Inca? The carvings on the rock are perhaps the most intriguing and puzzling aspect of the site. The largest figure, often referred to as the central carving, depicts a human-like figure with a stylized head, believed by some to be a representation of a deity or a cosmic entity. Around this central figure, a series of concentric circles and geometric designs surround it, possibly indicating an alignment with celestial bodies. Some researchers suggest that these carvings were used for ritualistic purposes, possibly involving offerings or ceremonies conducted by the ancient inhabitants of the area. Others believe that the carvings were linked to agricultural cycles, marking important celestial events such as solstices and equinoxes, and thereby aligning the site with natural rhythms. The presence of channels cut into the stone further adds to the mystery. These channels, some of which seem to be water conduits, suggest that the site may have had a more practical function as well. Could it have been used to channel water for irrigation purposes, or were these channels part of a more elaborate ritual system, symbolic of the flow of life, energy, or the connection between the earthly and divine realms? These unanswered questions hint at a complexity of thought and purpose that we have yet to fully grasp. Mainstream archaeology tends to place the origin of Samaipata Rock within the Chane culture, a pre-Incan civilization believed to have inhabited the region. The Chane were known for their agricultural knowledge and their connection to the natural world, so it is plausible that Samaipata Rock served as a center for religious rituals and agricultural observances. However, some fringe theories suggest that the site could have been influenced by even older civilizations, possibly dating back to the pre-Chanés, who might have had advanced knowledge of astronomy, engineering, or construction techniques that have been lost over time. Could there have been an even older civilization that predated the Chané and left behind these astonishing carvings as a legacy? While the mainstream theory points to the Inca as the final occupants of the site, their role in its creation or use remains unclear. It is believed that the Incas, after their conquest of the region, may have appropriated Samaipata for their own ceremonial use, adding some of their own architectural elements. However, they likely inherited or adopted the site's earlier religious significance, much as they did with many other sacred places throughout their empire. The Inca Empire was known for its deep connection to celestial events and cosmic symbols, and it is possible that Samaipata was a part of this broader Incan worldview. Was the site used by the Inca to chart the heavens and align their rituals with the stars? Or did they see it as a relic of the past, one that needed to be preserved as a testament to their connection with the divine? In the more speculative realm, some researchers have suggested that Samaipata Rock could have been an astronomical instrument, perhaps a form of early observatory or a large stone-based calendar. The way the site is positioned in relation to the surrounding landscape and celestial events has led some to propose that the rock was used to track the movements of the sun, stars, and possibly even the moon. Its seemingly precise alignments with key astronomical phenomena, including the solstices, raises intriguing possibilities. Could Samaipata Rock have been used to measure the passage of time, just as Stonehenge was used by the ancient peoples of Britain? Further still, the very nature of the carvings on Samaipata Rock, large, geometric, and often circular, has led some to hypothesize that the site could be connected to ancient knowledge of energy or resonance. Could the carvings have had a function beyond the visual, perhaps creating vibrations or reverberations that played a role in rituals, meditation, or even healing? These ideas, though speculative, reflect a growing interest in the possible energetic properties of ancient structures, which some believe may have been designed to harness natural forces or cosmic energies. The more one explores Samaipata Rock, the more questions arise. Who were the people who carved this site, and why did they invest so much effort into it? How did they achieve such precision in their carvings, and what tools did they use? Why did they align the site with celestial events? And what did they believe about the cosmos? And perhaps most importantly, what knowledge did they possess? Knowledge that may have been passed down to the Inca, lost to history, and forgotten by time. The answers remain elusive, and as we stand before the towering stone formation of Samaipata, we are reminded that not all mysteries are meant to be solved. Some remain hidden, preserved in the stone, waiting for the right questions to be asked. Whether Samaipata Rock was a sacred temple, an astronomical observatory, or something entirely different, its role in the ancient world is clear. It was a site of profound significance, both spiritually and practically. What remains to be uncovered, hidden beneath the centuries of weathering, is a testament to a civilization's understanding of the universe. A knowledge that may be lost to us, but still echoes in the stone itself. As we leave the site behind, we are left to wonder, what secrets does Samaipata Rock still hold, waiting to be discovered? And how much more of the ancient world's knowledge and mysteries remain hidden from us, just waiting to be unearthed? The answers may still be out there, waiting to be revealed. After exploring the enigmatic Samaipata Rock in Bolivia, we turn our gaze to the heart of the Balkans, where another awe-inspiring mystery awaits: Kokino Observatory in North Macedonia. Located in the northeastern part of the country, nestled among the rugged peaks of the Stogovo mountain range, Kokino is an ancient site that challenges our understanding of early astronomical knowledge. Often overshadowed by more famous observatories like Stonehenge, Kokino remains a relatively obscure gem in the world of archaeoastronomy, yet its implications are no less profound. The site itself is remarkable not just for its age, but for its sheer complexity. The Kokino Observatory consists of a series of large stone structures arranged across a rocky hilltop, offering panoramic views of the surrounding landscape. The most striking feature of Kokino is its alignment with the heavens. Carved into the rocky outcrop are several large stones, some of which form clear geometric patterns, suggesting the site may have been used for celestial observation. A large, central stone, positioned strategically on the highest point of the hill, is particularly intriguing. Its size and orientation suggest it may have served as a marker or tool for tracking celestial movements, particularly the rising and setting of the sun and stars. Kokino was first discovered in 2001, though its existence had likely been known to local populations long before. Archaeologists have since dated the site to approximately 4,000 years ago, placing it squarely in the Bronze Age, around 1800 BCE, an era when ancient civilizations were beginning to establish the foundational knowledge of astronomy. While other ancient observatories are widely recognized for their celestial importance, what sets Kokino apart is the sophistication of its design. The precision with which the structures are arranged, and the apparent use of the landscape as a tool for astronomical observations, suggests that its builders possessed a remarkably advanced understanding of the cosmos. But how did a people, in an era without telescopes or sophisticated instruments, develop such knowledge? The site's layout supports this theory. In addition to the main central stone, which likely served as an observation point, other stones around the site appear to be arranged to mark key astronomical events. Some of these stones align with the summer solstice, while others seem to correspond with specific stars or planetary movements. Could Kokino have been used as a primitive observatory, allowing the ancient inhabitants of the region to track the cycles of the sun and moon, or perhaps even the movements of far-off planets? The alignment of these stones with celestial events would have provided essential information for agricultural cycles, helping the ancient people predict the best times to plant and harvest crops. But was this purely functional, or did it also have a deeper spiritual or religious significance? The mainstream explanation for Kokino is that it served as a sacred observatory used by ancient communities to chart the stars, predict the seasons, and synchronize their agricultural practices. Some scholars suggest that the site was likely used by a group of early Illyrian peoples who inhabited the region during the Bronze Age. The Illyrians, known for their warrior culture and complex social structures, could have used Kokino as both a tool for survival and a space for ritual. The ability to predict celestial events would have been invaluable in an age when agriculture was central to society's survival. But beyond its agricultural utility, the site's ceremonial aspects remain unclear. Were the astronomical observations merely practical, or did they hold symbolic, spiritual, or religious meaning? As with many ancient sites, there are elements of Kokino that defy easy explanation. One of the most intriguing aspects of the site is the presence of an unusual carved circular stone located within the observatory complex. The stone appears to have been intentionally shaped with several grooves or channels carved into its surface. These grooves suggest that it may have been used for a more specific, possibly ritualistic purpose, but no one is certain what that purpose may have been. Could this stone have been a symbolic tool, perhaps representing the cyclical nature of time, or the movement of celestial bodies through the heavens? Or was it used in some kind of ceremonial ritual that has since been forgotten? There are also the mysterious alignments at Kokino, which some researchers have speculated may be related to ancient religious or spiritual beliefs. The careful placement of the stones may have allowed the inhabitants to measure the passage of time through the alignment of the sun, stars, and moon. Some believe that the people who built Kokino may have associated these celestial movements with the cycle of life and death, with the changing of the seasons serving as a metaphor for the human condition. Could the observatory have had a ritual function, where the rising sun symbolized rebirth and the setting sun marked the end of life? These ideas, though speculative, reflect the deep connection that ancient peoples often had with the heavens, viewing celestial bodies not as distant objects, but as active participants in the cycles of life on Earth. As we move beyond the more conventional explanations for Kokino, the site begins to take on even more mysterious dimensions. Some fringe theories propose that Kokino's builders had access to advanced astronomical knowledge that was far beyond the capabilities of contemporary civilizations. Could the stones have been positioned with such precision because the people of Kokino possessed a lost knowledge handed down from an ancient civilization long forgotten? There are those who speculate that the site's builders might have been influenced by other, more technologically advanced cultures, perhaps from the Middle East or even further afield. Could the site be the result of a cultural exchange? Or could it represent the remnants of a civilization that predated even the Sumerians and Egyptians? These theories remain purely speculative, but they underscore the mystery of Kokino. Its precision and sophistication leave us questioning how much ancient cultures may have known about the cosmos. Moreover, the idea of energy fields, whether magnetic, cosmic, or spiritual, has been suggested by some researchers as a possible explanation for the site's design. Could Kokino have been built in such a way as to harness natural energy or align with the Earth's magnetic fields? The megalithic stones at Kokino could have been strategically positioned to amplify or focus energies from the surrounding landscape, creating a kind of power spot that was used for healing, spiritual practice, or even technological purposes. While these ideas remain speculative and lack conclusive evidence, they invite us to think beyond conventional archaeological frameworks. Ultimately, the true purpose of Kokino remains one of the great mysteries of the ancient world. Was it simply a practical observatory used by ancient people to track the heavens? Or was it something more, a place of spiritual and cosmic significance? The advanced understanding of the celestial world required to design such a site suggests that the people of Kokino were far more sophisticated than we might imagine. Yet, despite the advances in archaeology and astronomy, many of the most fundamental questions about Kokino remain unanswered. As we leave the summit of Kokino and gaze out at the vast, timeless landscape, we are reminded of the mysteries that still linger in the ancient world. What did the builders of Kokino truly understand about the cosmos, and how did they apply that knowledge to their lives? The stones of Kokino stand as silent witnesses to a distant past, whispering secrets that we may never fully decipher. And perhaps, in that silence, the greatest mystery of all remains. What exactly did the people of Kokino know that has been lost to the sands of time? Following our journey through the celestial alignments of Kokino, we now venture southwest, across the vast African continent, to one of the most iconic and enigmatic archaeological sites in the world, the Great Zimbabwe Ruins. Situated in the heart of the Zimbabwean plateau, this ancient city stands as a testament to the ingenuity and sophistication of a civilization long forgotten by time. Built between the 11th and 15th centuries, the ruins of Great Zimbabwe encompass a vast, sprawling complex of stone structures that have mystified archaeologists and historians for centuries. The site offers a glimpse into a lost world, a world of wealth, culture, and advanced craftsmanship, all woven together by a set of enduring mysteries. As you approach the ruins, the first thing that strikes you is the sheer scale of the complex. The Great Zimbabwe Ruins cover over 1,800 acres and consist of three main sections: the hill complex, the Great Enclosure, and the Valley Ruins. The most famous and iconic of these is the Great Enclosure, a massive stone-walled fortress that was once surrounded by a carefully constructed series of walls, some as high as 11 meters. These towering walls, made of thousands of carefully cut granite stones, have stood the test of time, enduring centuries of weathering and erosion. The precision of the masonry is astonishing, with each stone fitting perfectly into place without the use of mortar, an achievement that defies explanation, given the tools available to the builders at the time. The Great Enclosure is especially intriguing because of its shape. Unlike many other ancient ruins, which feature rectangular or square structures, the Great Enclosure is circular, with walls that curve inward in a manner that suggests a deliberate design. Inside, you'll find a stone tower, dubbed the Zimbabwe Bird Tower, which rises above the ruins like a sentinel of the past. The tower, though partially ruined, was once an imposing structure, possibly serving a ceremonial or symbolic function. Its design, along with the placement of the walls, hints at an understanding of architecture that was far beyond what might be expected from a civilization of its time. How, we wonder, did the builders of Great Zimbabwe manage to craft such intricate, curved walls, and what purpose did they serve? Beyond the impressive walls and structures, the Great Zimbabwe Ruins are rich in symbolism. The most famous symbols are the Zimbabwe birds, carved in stone, and once thought to be representations of the mythical birds that adorned the royal insignia of the kingdom. These birds, which are thought to represent power, spirituality, and wealth, are an enduring feature of Zimbabwe's cultural identity. But what role did they play in the ancient city's religious and political life? Were they symbols of the king's divine right, or did they have a more complex meaning, perhaps tied to the natural world or the cosmos? While the ruins of Great Zimbabwe are undoubtedly impressive, they also pose a set of unanswered questions. The most pressing of these is the mystery of who built the city, and more importantly, how they did it. The mainstream theory, supported by archaeological evidence, holds that Great Zimbabwe was the capital of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, a thriving civilization that flourished between the 11th and 15th centuries. The kingdom was ruled by a powerful elite who controlled trade routes that stretched across the African continent. It is believed that Great Zimbabwe was a center of trade, with its wealth derived from the exchange of gold, ivory, and other precious goods. The ruins are often seen as a symbol of this wealth, a monument to a kingdom that once ruled over vast territories. However, the mainstream theory raises its own set of questions. For one, the sheer scale of the great enclosure and the precision of its walls seem to suggest a level of sophistication that goes beyond the traditional understanding of the Zimbabwean kingdom. How were these massive stone structures constructed with such precision? What tools and techniques did the builders have at their disposal, and why did they choose such a complex and intricate design? The fact that the walls were built without mortar further complicates the issue. The use of mortar in ancient construction was standard practice, as it allowed for greater stability. So why was it omitted here? Was it a deliberate choice, tied to some symbolic or religious belief? Or is it possible that the builders of Great Zimbabwe possessed advanced building techniques that we have yet to fully understand? The mystery is compounded by the lack of written records. Unlike many other ancient civilizations, the people of Great Zimbabwe left no written history, no inscriptions or scrolls to explain their achievements. All that remains is the stone, the carefully crafted walls, the ceremonial structures, and the symbols that adorn them. Without written records, archaeologists and historians must rely on the physical evidence at the site to piece together the history of this remarkable civilization. Yet, despite decades of research and excavation, there is still much that remains unknown. Some fringe theories suggest that Great Zimbabwe was built not by the native Shona people, but by an entirely different civilization, possibly one with advanced knowledge of architecture, astronomy, or engineering. Some have speculated that the site may have been influenced by lost civilizations in the Mediterranean or even the Middle East. Could the builders of Great Zimbabwe have had contact with ancient Egyptians, Phoenicians, or other far-flung cultures? The idea that Great Zimbabwe's builders were influenced by distant cultures is one that some archaeologists and researchers entertain, but there is little concrete evidence to support it. Still, the possibility lingers, if only because the site's complexity and design seem to suggest a level of knowledge that might not have been typical of the region at the time. Another theory posits that the builders of Great Zimbabwe were influenced by astrological or religious beliefs. The circular design of the great enclosure and the alignment of certain structures suggest that the people of Great Zimbabwe may have viewed the cosmos as an essential part of their spiritual and political life. Could the builders have had an advanced understanding of the stars, the moon, and the planets? Was the city's layout tied to celestial movements, marking important events such as solstices or eclipses? The idea that Great Zimbabwe was more than just a royal residence, but a spiritual center with deep ties to the cosmos, is one that continues to fascinate. Yet, for all the theories and speculations, we are left with a profound mystery. How did this advanced civilization, with its wealth, culture, and architectural prowess, vanish without leaving a trace? By the 16th century, the Kingdom of Zimbabwe had fallen into decline, and the ruins of Great Zimbabwe were abandoned. What caused the downfall of this once great city? Was it internal strife, climate change, or the pressure of outside forces? The answers are as elusive as the history of the site itself. As we stand before the towering stone walls of Great Zimbabwe, we are reminded of the enduring power of mystery. The site, with its intricate carvings, its symbolic birds, and its impressive masonry, offers a glimpse into a lost world, a world whose people understood something profound about the natural and celestial forces that shape our existence. Yet the true nature of that understanding remains hidden, as does the identity of the builders and their ultimate fate. What knowledge did they possess that has since been lost? And what secrets lie buried beneath the stones, waiting for the right questions to be asked? The mysteries of Great Zimbabwe remain as captivating as they are elusive, leaving us to wonder, what else is waiting to be discovered in this ancient city of stone? After exploring the timeless enigma of Great Zimbabwe, we now turn our attention to the American Southwest, to a place where the pulse of ancient civilization still echoes across the desolate desert landscape. Nestled in the high desert of northwestern New Mexico, Chaco Canyon stands as one of the most significant and perplexing archaeological sites in North America. Its monumental ruins, with their perfect alignments, massive stone structures, and mysterious astronomical connections, continue to fascinate archaeologists and researchers, offering tantalizing clues about a civilization that vanished centuries ago, leaving behind only whispers in the wind. Chaco Canyon, located within the Chaco Culture National Historical Park, is home to a series of great houses, massive multi-storied stone buildings built by the ancestral Puebloans between the 9th and 12th centuries. These structures, including the Gran Pueblo Bonito, represent the heart of a vast and complex cultural system that flourished long before the arrival of Europeans to the Americas. Sprawling across a vast desert plain, the canyon is dotted with monumental buildings, ceremonial chambers, and roads that appear to radiate outward from the site like the spokes of a wheel. From a distance, the canyon may seem a place of desolate beauty, but it is clear that this was once a bustling center of activity, an important hub for trade, politics, and religion. Pueblo Bonito, the largest and most studied of the great houses, offers a stunning example of Chacoan architecture. With over 650 rooms, a large central plaza, and a series of kivas, circular, subterranean ceremonial chambers, Pueblo Bonito stands as a testament to the engineering prowess and social complexity of the Chacoan people. The building's design is not only functional but deeply symbolic, with a sense of alignment to both the physical and spiritual worlds. The walls of Pueblo Bonito, as well as other structures in the canyon, were constructed with incredible precision. The stones were carefully shaped and placed, creating massive walls and intricate doorways that have withstood the test of time. But what purpose did this elaborate design serve? Was it merely a practical living space, or was there a deeper, more esoteric significance behind the construction? As impressive as the architecture is, the true mystery of Chaco Canyon lies not just in its monumental buildings, but in the astronomical alignments that seem to permeate the entire site. One of the most fascinating aspects of Chaco Canyon is its connection to the movements of the stars, the sun, and the moon. The layout of the canyon and its great houses appears to have been deliberately designed to align with key celestial events. For example, the entrance to Pueblo Bonito is aligned to the sunrise on the summer solstice, while the walls of the canyon are oriented with the rising and setting positions of certain stars. This deliberate alignment with celestial bodies raises an intriguing question. Was Chaco Canyon used as an astronomical observatory? A place where the ancestral Puebloans could track the movements of the heavens and their correlation to the seasons. Some researchers suggest that the people of Chaco Canyon were expert astronomers, with an advanced understanding of the night sky. Evidence of this is found in the many petroglyphs and symbols carved into the canyon walls. These images, which include representations of the sun, the moon, and various constellations, point to a people who were deeply attuned to the natural rhythms of the universe. But what purpose did these astronomical observations serve? Did they use this knowledge purely for practical purposes, like the timing of agricultural cycles? Or was there a spiritual or ritualistic component to their astronomical practices, perhaps involving ceremonies tied to the movements of celestial bodies? In addition to its astronomical alignments, the site also features an extensive network of roads that radiate out from Chaco Canyon, extending hundreds of miles into the surrounding desert. These roads, some of which are carefully constructed and others that are simply worn paths, suggest that Chaco Canyon was a major center for trade, communication, and cultural exchange. The roads connected Chaco to other major sites in the region, including Aztec ruins, Hovenweep, and Mesa Verde. all of which share similar architectural features and alignments. The significance of these roads cannot be understated. They not only facilitated trade and movement, but also may have had ceremonial importance. Could the roads have been more than mere transportation routes? Were they part of a larger spiritual or ritualistic system that connected the people of Chaco Canyon to the cosmos? Yet, despite the extensive research and excavation at Chaco Canyon, many questions remain unanswered. One of the most puzzling mysteries is the decline of the Chacoan civilization. By the late 12th century, the population of Chaco Canyon began to decline, and by the early 13th century, the once thriving center was largely abandoned. What caused the downfall of this great civilization? Was it environmental factors, such as prolonged droughts or resource depletion? Or did the social and political structure of the society collapse from within? The abandonment of Chaco Canyon remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of North American archaeology. Some researchers suggest that the decline of Chaco Canyon may have been linked to climatic changes. Evidence suggests that the region experienced a prolonged drought during the period of the site's decline. This drought could have led to crop failures, water shortages, and ultimately the disintegration of the society that once thrived there. However, the reasons behind the abandonment are still speculative. Was the site abandoned abruptly, or did it fade into decline over a longer period of time? And why did the people of Chaco Canyon choose to abandon such a meticulously constructed center, one that had been the focal point of their culture for centuries? Beyond the mainstream theories, there are those who propose more fringe explanations for the decline of Chaco Canyon. Some speculate that the collapse of Chaco Canyon was the result of external forces, such as warfare or invasions. Could the people of Chaco Canyon have been overrun by neighboring tribes or groups? Others have suggested more mystical or supernatural reasons, citing the site's apparent alignment with celestial events as evidence of a lost knowledge or power that may have been taken away or lost in some catastrophic event. These theories, while intriguing, remain speculative and lack solid evidence to support them. Yet, the possibility of an ancient hidden power, either material or spiritual, lends an air of mystique to the site, inviting us to imagine what might have been lost over the centuries. As we stand among the ruins of Chaco Canyon, looking out over the jagged desert terrain, we are reminded of the complexity and mystery of the civilization that once flourished here. The canyon, with its precise alignments, grand architecture, and celestial connections, tells the story of a people who were deeply in tune with the forces of nature and the cosmos. But the exact nature of their beliefs, their society, and the reasons for their eventual decline remain elusive. Was Chaco Canyon simply a reflection of the practical needs of a society, one that sought to measure time, track the stars, and organize their world? Or did it serve a higher, more spiritual purpose? Perhaps a place where the people sought to connect with the divine, with the cosmos itself. The unanswered questions of Chaco Canyon leave us with a lingering sense of wonder and curiosity. What secrets might the canyon still hold beneath its weathered stones? Could further excavations reveal more about the mysterious inhabitants of this ancient site? The answers may never come. But as we look to the sky above Chaco Canyon, with its clear, unbroken horizon and the same stars that guided the ancient people, we are reminded that some mysteries are meant to endure, whispering to us from the past in ways that we may never fully understand. After exploring the cosmic mysteries of Chaco Canyon, we journey east across the Indian Ocean to the lush island of Sri Lanka, to a site as ancient and enigmatic as the surrounding jungle itself, Sigiriya, a colossal rock fortress rising from the heart of the island. Often referred to as the eighth wonder of the world, Sigiriya is a breathtaking blend of natural beauty, architectural innovation, and mythological intrigue, a place where history, legend, and mystery converge in a way that captivates and confounds. Sigiriya, located in the central Matale district of Sri Lanka, stands proudly at nearly 200 meters above the surrounding plains. The massive granite outcrop, which is what remains of an ancient volcanic plug, towers over the landscape like a sentinel guarding secrets lost to time. On its summit, a ruined palace once stood, a citadel of incredible sophistication and scale, constructed at the height of the Anuradhapura kingdom during the 5th century CE. But while the remnants of the fortress tell us a great deal about its builders and its use, there remains much about Sigiriya that is still shrouded in mystery. To approach Sigiriya is to first witness the sheer enormity of its structure. Rising dramatically from the forest floor, the rock itself seems to defy the surrounding landscape, its jagged edges cut sharply against the sky. Its sides are steep, almost vertical, while the summit is a flat expanse of stone upon which an ancient palace complex once stood. The climb to the top is no less impressive, an intricate system of stairways, walkways, and scaffolding, some of which have been carved directly into the rock, allowing access to the summit. Today, visitors can walk along these pathways, following in the footsteps of those who, centuries ago, sought to reach the fortress atop Sigiriya. But what prompted the construction of this imposing structure? And who were the people that chose to build on such a forbidding landscape? The history of Sigiriya is deeply tied to King Kassapa I, the ruler who is said to have built the palace in the 5th century. According to legend, Kassapa's reign was marked by intrigue and bloodshed, beginning with a brutal power struggle. When his father, King Datusena, was betrayed and killed by Kassapa's brother, Moggallana, Kassapa fled to Sigiriya, where he fortified the rock and built the palace as both a defensive stronghold and a monument to his rule. The legend of Kassapa's bloody rise to power is intertwined with Sigiriya's place in history, but there is more to this rock fortress than the story of a vengeful king. As with many ancient sites, the true purpose of Sigiriya remains elusive, leaving much to speculation. One of the most striking features of Sigiriya is its famous frescoes, which can still be seen on the walls of the rock. These vibrant paintings depict semi-nude women, thought to be apsaras or celestial maidens, whose beauty and grace transcend time. The murals, though faded, retain a mystical quality, their colors and figures still captivating visitors who stand before them. The presence of these paintings raises a series of questions. Who were these women, and why were they depicted on the rock? Were they simply ornamental, or did they hold a deeper significance for the people who created them? Some scholars suggest that these images may have had religious or ceremonial purposes, possibly related to fertility or divine protection. Others speculate that the murals may have been part of a larger narrative, illustrating the divine or mythical significance of the site. Beyond the frescoes, the most famous aspect of Sigiriya is its Lion's Gate, a monumental gateway built into the shape of a lion, with massive stone paws that guard the entrance to the summit. This gate once led visitors through a narrow passage and up a series of stairs to the top of the rock, where the palace once stood. The Lion's Gate is an architectural marvel, a testament to the ingenuity of those who built it. But what did it symbolize? Was it purely a decorative element, or did it hold more profound significance? Some suggest that the lion imagery could be linked to royal symbolism, with the lion representing strength, power, and the divine right of kings. However, the exact purpose of this gateway remains unclear. Was it merely an entrance to the palace, or did it serve as a symbolic threshold, marking the transition from the earthly realm to the divine? The layout of Sigiriya also raises fascinating questions about the site's astronomical and religious significance. The placement of the site, its careful orientation, and the alignment of various structures suggest that Sigiriya may have had a profound connection to celestial events. Some researchers propose that the rock was designed to align with the sun or the stars at certain times of the year, possibly marking key moments in the agricultural calendar, like the solstices or equinoxes. The fact that Sigiriya is located at a natural crossroads between the central highlands and the northern plains of Sri Lanka adds to the theory that it was not only a political stronghold, but also a ceremonial center, a place where the king could perform religious rituals connected to the cosmos. Could Sigiriya have been an early example of a sacred observatory, where the movements of the sun and stars were charted and celebrated? Adding to the intrigue is the water management system that surrounds the site. Sigiriya is famous for its complex network of pools, fountains, and water channels, many of which have survived for centuries. The most notable of these is the mirror wall, a smooth, polished surface that once reflected the royal palace above. The wall, which is covered with inscriptions and poems written by visitors, reveals the deep cultural significance of the site. But the water system itself, which is sophisticated and advanced, raises questions about the technological prowess of the builders. How did the people of Sigiriya manage to create such an efficient system in an era without modern plumbing? Was it a feat of engineering, or could there have been a more mysterious force at play in the design of these waters? While the mainstream narrative of Sigiriya ties it to the reign of King Kassapa, some fringe theories suggest that the site predates him, with some scholars proposing that it was originally constructed as a sacred site for an earlier civilization. The idea that Sigiriya might be the remains of an ancient, lost civilization has intrigued many over the years. Could the rock fortress have served a different, more spiritual or cosmic function long before it became a royal citadel? Was it, perhaps, the site of an earlier sacred observatory or a ritual space tied to the cosmos, with the lion and the palace serving as later additions? These theories remain speculative, but invite us to consider the possibility that Sigiriya's origins are far older and more complex than we currently understand. Despite the various theories and explanations, Sigiriya continues to hold many of its secrets. The incredible precision of the architecture, the profound symbolism of the Lion's Gate, the celestial alignments, and the mysterious frescoes all point to a deep connection between the people who built the site and the natural world around them. The site is an enduring mystery, one that invites more questions than answers. Was it a royal palace, a sacred observatory, or something more? The answers may never fully be uncovered, but as we look out across the lush Sri Lankan landscape, with Sigiriya's towering rock standing like a monument to the past, we are reminded that some mysteries are meant to remain just beyond our reach, leaving us to wonder what hidden truths still lie waiting, carved into the stone, high above the world below. Following our journey through the heights of Sigiriya, we now move westward across the vast African continent to a landscape shaped by a different kind of monumental construction, the Senegambian stone circles. Hidden across the savannas of Senegal and Gambia, these enigmatic stone structures stand as silent sentinels to an ancient past, their origins and purpose still shrouded in mystery. Unlike the towering fortresses of Sri Lanka or the intricate city layouts of other ancient sites, the Senegambian stone circles are understated, scattered across the vast plains, yet they provoke deep questions about the civilizations that created them and their significance. The stone circles of Senegambia are a series of more than 1,000 individual sites spread across the two countries, most notably in the Juf and Sina Saloum regions of Senegal and the Gambia River Valley. What immediately captures the attention of any visitor to these remote and often forgotten landscapes is the sheer number and scale of the stones themselves. The circles, made up of standing stones or menhirs, are scattered across an area that stretches some 30 kilometers from north to south. Some of the circles are relatively small, while others are vast, with stones weighing several tons each. The arrangement of these stones, set in geometric patterns, raises the first of many questions. What was the purpose of this seemingly random collection of stones placed across a wide swath of land? One of the most well-known groups of stone circles, located near the village of Wassu in the Gambia, consists of about 11 circles. Each circle consists of a series of large stones arranged in a circular formation, sometimes with a large central stone surrounded by smaller stones. Some of the circles are as wide as 40 meters in diameter, and the stones themselves, carved and polished, exhibit an artistry that suggests a people of advanced craftsmanship. These stones, many of which are engraved with intricate geometric patterns, do not appear to be merely markers or grave sites. They seem to have been arranged deliberately, aligned with the sun, moon, and stars. Could these circles have been astronomical observatories used to track celestial events like solstices, equinoxes, or eclipses? While the purpose of these stone circles is still open to speculation, one theory, supported by some archaeological evidence, suggests that they may have served as ritualistic or ceremonial centers. Some researchers point to the presence of large burial mounds near the circles, indicating that the stone sites might have been connected to burial rituals, ancestor worship, or spiritual practices. The arrangement of the stones, particularly the large central stones found in some of the circles, might have played a role in funerary rites or the honoring of deities or ancestors. The people who constructed these stone structures likely viewed them not only as a means of marking the landscape, but also as a way of connecting the physical and spiritual worlds, using the stones to communicate with the cosmos or the divine. The presence of similar patterns and shapes in the arrangement of the stones, often reflecting a symbolic understanding of geometric forms, suggests that these people possessed a sophisticated knowledge of geometry and symmetry, skills not commonly associated with societies from this era. Yet, how could a group of people, without the aid of written records or advanced tools, create such precise arrangements, some of which align perfectly with celestial bodies? Could the Senegambian stone circles have been the work of an ancient civilization that had a more advanced understanding of the natural world than previously thought? Perhaps most intriguing is the timing and scale of these structures. Archaeologists have dated some of the stone circles to as far back as the 3rd century BCE, with others possibly dating to even earlier periods. The presence of these megalithic structures in such remote regions of Africa raises the question, who built them? And more importantly, why? The Senegambian stone circles, unlike their European counterparts such as Stonehenge, seem to have no known or clear lineage to a single civilization or kingdom. There is no documentation, no historical records that provide insight into who the builders were or what they might have been trying to achieve. This absence of written records forces researchers to rely on the physical remnants of the site itself, and therein lies the mystery. One possible explanation is that the stone circles were part of a larger system of ritual that involved the entire region. In this context, the circles might have served as a form of social and religious networking, uniting various communities across vast distances. Perhaps these circles acted as sites of pilgrimage, where people gathered to exchange ideas, conduct religious ceremonies, or engage in political discourse. The very size and spread of these stone circles across such a large region suggest that the builders were connected by a shared cultural or spiritual vision. But the lack of direct evidence linking these communities complicates this theory. Could multiple, independent groups, each with their own motivations and purposes, have independently decided to create these structures in the same general area? Beyond the realm of mainstream archaeology, there are more speculative theories that attempt to explain the origin and purpose of the Senegambian stone circles. One fringe hypothesis posits that the circles were designed as part of a global system of megalithic sites, with other stone circles in distant locations like Europe and the Near East, all part of a larger, perhaps even ancient global network. Proponents of this theory suggest that these megalithic structures were built by a lost civilization that spanned continents, a theory that stretches the boundaries of conventional archaeological thought, but is nonetheless intriguing. Could the builders of these stones have been part of an ancient culture that was so advanced that their knowledge of astronomy, geometry, and architecture transcended the regional boundaries we think of today? Another theory is that the Senegambian stone circles were ritualistic markers for the dead, serving as grave markers or as places to honor ancestors. Some researchers believe that the large stones, particularly the central pillars, may represent the souls of ancestors, standing tall as guardians or symbols of eternal life. This idea is supported by the presence of burial sites near some of the circles, suggesting a connection between the stones and the honoring of the deceased. Moreover, the strategic location of many of these stone circles adds an additional layer of mystery. The circles are often found near rivers or natural springs, areas historically known for their spiritual significance. Was the placement of the stones intentionally tied to the flow of water, the cycle of life, and the celestial rhythms? Could the builders have associated these sites with the eternal cycle of birth, death, and rebirth? The exact rationale behind the selection of these sites remains speculative, but the connection to natural elements like water and the sky cannot be ignored. Despite the many theories, the Senegambian stone circles remain one of Africa's most enigmatic archaeological mysteries. Their construction, purpose, and meaning remain as elusive today as when they were first uncovered. What did these stone circles represent to the people who built them, and why did they create them in the first place? Was it an attempt to measure time, to reach for the stars, or to create a bridge between the living and the dead? Perhaps there is more to be discovered beneath the surface. Undisturbed stones, hidden chambers, or unexamined records that might shed light on this ancient enigma. As we look upon these silent stone structures, still standing after millennia, we are left with a sense of wonder and reverence. What did the people who built these stones know about the world, about the cosmos, the earth, and themselves that we have yet to comprehend? The mysteries of the Senegambian stone circles continue to evoke questions that transcend time, reminding us that some truths may remain forever buried beneath the earth, waiting for the right questions to be asked.